Welcome back to another episode of Enter the Nerdom. I'm here.
I don't think I've ever been on this show where you've done a successful opening. Now, it's funny because I listened to the podcast and I've heard you do it. I've just never heard you successfully say those words while I'm in the room with you.
One more time.
Here we go.
Welcome back to another episode of the...
He's got one job to do 2 times a week.
Welcome back to another episode of Enter the Nerdom. I'm here with co-host
Stan Warnstein.
Watson Bradshaw.
and I'm obviously Chad Cook.
He's pointing at me.
I'm not pointing. That was my hand out. This is how I reach out.
Did I ruin another one?
You did.
Sorry.
That's okay.
It's okay.
That's okay.
You look so
You
good.
heard from our guest here,
Dan
Mason. There you go.
Pleasure to be here. Long time
We
fan.
have Mason Nation on.
Mason
today.
Nation. Hashtag Mason smash that like.
You messed up your own.
Just stroke out in the middle.
Smash that like. Smash that like.
I can't feel my fingers anymore.
Yeah, anyway. Mason Nation.
Welcome everybody.
Yes.
We today we wanted to have Dan on today because as some of you may have noticed, we have not addressed Sonic 3 yet.
Yes.
That came out a while ago. We've been trying to get Dan on for a while.
Yeah.
He's hard to pin down.
It's hard to
But
put
I was
down.
too busy at watching Sonic 3 5 times.
Did
so
you
I
really
can-
see it 5 times?
I did see it 5 times, yeah.
Is there a reason why you saw it 5 times, or you just wanted
Different
to see
formats. I wanted to see it in a bunch of different formats, and also I went to the premiere, the Grauman's Chinese
it?
Theater,
Yeah, we're gonna ask you about that.
which like I specifically bring that up because I need you to know the differences in the audiences, because
for sure.
as you know, Sonic does have its fans. It has its extreme fans. It has its fly-by-night fans. But Sonic is just a very well-known character in the zeitgeist. But when you go see the Sonic 3 movie, that if for those listening, that if you have seen Sonic 3, it is very fan servicey, not in like the anime way, but it gives its fans nice little nods and Easter eggs and references that like make it fun for a Sonic fan to watch. And when you see, like, at the premiere, people, like, Sonic would tilt his head 45 degrees, and people would erupt and be like, oh, my God, Sonic Adventure 2, when he was jumping out of the helicopter, and he tilted his head 45 degrees. Like, that's the audience when I first saw it. Mm-hmm. Take you to the last time I saw it, where, like, you could hear, like, a pin drop in the theater. Like, no one, like, gave 2 shits about it. It was, like, so, like, I went from the range of, like, all of that and everything in between, but we can go into whatever. I just want to let you know, saw it 5 times. I think, and I think this is healthy to say in the world, and I think it's brave of me, and I don't like to use the word hero often, but I think Sonic 3 was the best one, followed by 2, followed by 1.
Interesting.
I'd agree with that.
Okay, yeah. How did you get invited to the premiere, if you don't mind us asking?
My friend and I were doing the we do a lot of Sonic stuff. We post about a lot of Sonic stuff. He was invited. I think I was a mercy invite, like laterally
you would,
from
like,
that.
break down as a human if you didn't get to go.
I honestly think because I did get a separate invite, it was only because they used me as leverage to get him to go. And it legit because he said yes the day after I responded yes. So I think that's the only reason I was invited to this thing. But it was so cool. We went to the red carpet, and I had this blue Sonic suit with my red identical Sonic shoes to the ones he has in the movie. Mm-hmm. And there was like a lot of cool people there. I'm a big fan of a musical artist, CG5, that does like a lot of video game songs and everything. We saw Jim Carrey there, James Marsden, Ben Schwartz, which Ben Schwartz needs so much credit for, one, what he does with Sonic, but two, just his improv skills in general and how he punches up the scripts to make them even better. But I only got invited to this thing laterally, and I'm not ashamed to say that, but I'm so glad I did, because there was like a Chow garden that you could go visit before you went to the movie. And then when you were there, me and my other friend Straw Hat Goofy, he sat next to us too, and it was cool because in this audience I was one of the people that was like, 45-degree head tilt. I knew it. I knew they'd do it. But like, also, we're going to talk spoilers, right?
Of course.
Here's your
Been
spoiler
out long
thing.
enough now.
Yeah.
When I sat down, it was one of those moments where like everyone got quiet, and then I said it not intentionally, but I was telling them, my friend Andre and Straw Hat, I was telling them, if Amy Rose is not at the end of this movie, I'm going to fucking riot. And then everyone heard that and applauded and started cheering. Yeah. And then like right when she shows up at the very end, everyone like, I could feel the seats shift my direction. And then everyone like pointed and like, yeah. And like,
Nice.
It was like the most love I've ever felt for this thing that has usually generally ostracized me from family and friends.
You found your tribe.
I found my tribe,
your tribe,
and they're
yeah.
all hedgehog blue people, and I love it.
What are some of the other formats you saw in? And why did you feel compelled to see them all in different formats?
So, the Grauman's Chinese Theater, they didn't have us in the main room because that's where they had two different rooms, right? They had like the upstairs one, and then the main one with like, that's where the actors and their families went to. So we didn't watch it with them. We watched it in the other room.
The freak room.
The freak room, like the nasty boy room. We like to
Nasty
call
boy,
it.
yeah.
Sure,
We like to call it the nasty room.
Everybody was
The
handing a
padded
bottle of baby
walls.
oil.
Yeah, so we were all lubed up, and we were like kind of greased up, ready to go. And the sound wasn't too great. Also, I'm sure I'm not talking to myself here. When there's something you really love and like it comes out to like a wider audience, you're so kind of hyper focused on it being okay and being good that like you don't enjoy it as much as you try to like defend it or be like, okay, are they doing it? Is this okay? Is this good? Is this gonna suck? Do I have to like defend myself for like the next 3 weeks? But so like once that's kind of like off, like you're like, oh, let me see it again. And now that like I have a better understanding for the story, I can like let loose and enjoy and see like if I catch little moments and like just enjoy the relationships more in the story. So that's mainly why I wanted to go see it a few times. And then like I saw it in the Dolby. I saw it in 4DX, which is so good in 4DX. Saw it in like the laser, whatever. You know, the one that's not really anything, but they just sell it as something. So it's like all those different ones. But
Nice.
I mean, my wife saw Wicked like 20-something times, and so I'm not doing that. But especially it's out now on digital. Go buy it today. I don't get comp from that, but I'm very excited to like dig into the bonus features. And before I let the floor back to you guys, I just need to say I still think now that we have Sonic and it's good and the design is good, the franchise is healthy and well, I think they should lean into it and they should release the wonky Sonic cut. I think we should see what the movie would have looked like with the original Sonic design. And I think Paramount should release it as a bonus feature.
Would you
That's
like
good.
a trilogy of wonky designs, like each character being a little wonky?
Like
a wonky
if they
shadow,
gave us designs,
wonky...
that'd be great.
Right.
But I want a full-on, like the first movie, so they don't even need to create new designs for Tails and like
They
stuff.
got it somewhere.
They have it.
Yeah, because it was done.
It was done. They had a lot of it filmed around it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of that original Gangsta's Paradise
Boy,
trailer
that design.
where you see Sonic's human legs
Yes.
Yeah.
just like scaling down, and you're like it's turning me on, but like not in the way I wanted the Sonic movie to turn me on.
Yeah, and he wasn't wearing gloves. He had like just white.
Just had
human
hands,
hands.
human
Yeah,
hands,
it was
human
so weird.
teeth.
Yeah.
Would you want to see that in theaters?
So many.
Oh my!
Go see
Oh
the
my
theaters?
God! If
40X.
IMAX.
I would let him rock my world if I saw that in 4DX. No, if they gave it to us in any, like I will I will be a dog and like lick it off the floor like the bad Sonic boy I am. I will just lap up any mess of trash they give me because they know I'll just devour it. But
they announced the date for Sonic 4.
That's amazing.
Which is coming out in March, I believe, in 2027.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we got a couple of years. Paramount needs to fill out some things. And
I hope we get an Amy little movie or something.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get I don't know if they're doing a Knuckles season 2.
I'm okay.
That's
I'm okay with that.
Did you like Knuckles or?
I think Idris Elba is such a good at Knuckles.
Phenomenal.
And they also do something really cool where like Knuckles, when he first started out, was kind of like this mischievous, like rascal in a way.
Yeah.
And then he was like a bruiser tough guy, but like a rascal. And they kind of like lost that for like this big dumb bruiser in like a lot of the media. And I don't like when characters are just kind of like dumb because like no one's actually that dumb besides Chad maybe. But like it's just like unrealistic. It's like when Joey was like in Friends, like when he was started out as kind of like a aloof actor,
right?
And then in the last season, like he couldn't tie his shoe without like bending over and
the
farting.
Homer Simpson effect.
Yeah,
Everyone just gets dumber over time.
So like I'm glad that this movie didn't make him dumb, but made him something else.
It does remind me of like a kid that is a little naive who thinks he's a tough guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and you see that in like Sonic 4 where he's like, I'm gonna go punch him, and
I felt
wrecked.
they gave him the Thor attitude.
Yeah.
In the first film.
That's right. Yeah.
Where,
Like fish out of water kind of thing.
Which is always fun.
Yeah, and Adam Paley, the guy that plays Wade in the movies, I love that character.
Yeah.
I love Adam Paley.
I think Adam Paley's great.
I think he is so good. I think they did him a disservice by making his character dumb.
Yeah, he was a joke.
They made him a joke, but then like that character is good when you like flash him on the screen and get him out of there. You know, when you rely a whole series on that and then you kind of don't use Knuckles because of the budget.
Yeah,
it's okay not to have a season 2, but I'm glad we got a Knuckles show in our lifetime.
And it didn't really affect the story of the third movie.
No, not at all.
Which I'm glad, because I'm like, there's probably a lot of people like, same with like all the MCU stuff, like, or like you have to watch WandaVision to get like you didn't have to watch Knuckles to enjoy Sonic 3. I mean, they had a little joke, they cut to Adam Paley's character playing hockey with the gemstone.
Yeah.
The
gemstone. Oh my god, can you guys believe this shit?
It's gemstone.
The gemstone?
Sorry, the Chaos Emerald.
I apologize.
Oh my god, the Master Emerald.
Master Emerald.
Oh my god, is he joking?
But the Chaos Emeralds make the
I'm just going to leave.
Yeah, but Chad...
I'm going to leave. Sorry.
Wow. Jesus. You embarrass us.
I'm sorry. Oh god.
You say I'm dumb?
Wow. So okay, I want to ask you guys questions because I'm
out.
I'm a Sonic pervert. So I
have one question for you though.
Yeah, ask
with
the pervert.
Your want for a wonky Sonic, what if
my need, you might say.
I mean, if that ain't a hashtag,
Obsession.
I don't know what is.
My want for wonky Sonic.
Want for wonky.
I want for wonky.
If let's say they incorporated him to the current storyline in the sense he's a hybrid clone of Sonic as an enemy of Sonic, and then we see our Sonic versus the wonky Sonic, but he's maybe like half Robotnik, half Sonic.
You know what? It's not the worst idea, but I am also sick of multiverse shit.
Well, it's not it's not multiverse,
but it's tongue in cheek and like, hey, get it? This is the weird thing. I want them to go in on it. I want them to be like, this is the world you could have had. I want you to like look at his little raccoon fingers digging through the trash.
Nice.
And like, I want you to see his human feet. And
that was the trailer. He had like no shoes.
He had human feet.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I want you to see the feet, Chad.
Well, then he would finally get his shoes at the end of the movie.
Yeah, but that's the journey.
Yeah.
The journey is you don't get free feet no more. That's the journey.
All right.
So Sonic for me.
It's a weird way to phrase feet.
That's the journey.
Free feet.
Free feet.
How do you get your free feet?
It's like that's something Quentin Tarantino would say.
So I was a Genesis kid. I started with the Sonic games. Those are still the music. And if you haven't seen Sonic Symphony live, That's my poll.
Oh.
That's my recommendation for this episode.
Mm-hmm.
You need to, when it comes back to your town, you need to see Sonic Symphony live.
Are you going to take us?
I'll take 2 of you. And
Fair enough.
I
I don't need to be there.
Okay.
I got
Well, you're not
Spotify.
going.
you won't know which 2.
No,
I said Gemstone, so
He said Gemstone, so
I'm
he's
out.
already on the
That's
list. He's on the list.
Oh.
But so I was a Genesis kid. I loved the Archie comics. I got into the Sonic cartoons when I was younger. Had my Sonic plushies. So Sonic was always like part of my life. My car right now is named Sonic with lots of Sonic.
Did you go to Sonic fast food a lot too?
No, because he has no relation to that. Funny
Well,
enough,
you could still. It's the name.
that's
still
perverted, Chad. Why would I do that?
I mean, a lot of things are perverted about Sonic.
I don't know
but
how
we
they-
don't
oh,
get
if we
into
want to
it.
get into that now.
I mean, we don't have to. but
Okay,
if you
here we
want
go.
to.
Here's a list of my most perverted Sonic dreams.
Yeah.
and all the website pictures.
Yeah, here's all the links you can access them at. But what do you guys have any attachment to Sonic? Do you guys care about
yeah.
this franchise in any way?
Yeah, I'm also a Genesis kid. I remember very distinctly being 10 or so and getting a Genesis as a child with Sonic 2, I think. And because Sonic 1 was on the Mega Drive or whatever. But I remember I'm playing that game and, there was no saves. So it was just like get through as fast as I could. Because I only got a limited window to play video games at home. My mom was very much like, an hour. I'm like, great. And get to Eggman,
Yeah.
and then I have to turn it off. I also like the cartoon series with was it Jaleel White was the voice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was for
back
both of them, too.
Yeah. And
Which is crazy when you think about that logistically.
yeah,
That 2 separate Sonic shows that didn't really have
no connection really.
connection
Yeah.
in their worlds were just voiced by the same dude.
Right. And has he had a cameo in the movies at all?
I don't think
Not
he is.
yet.
No.
I'm
Which is
surprised
weird,
that
yeah.
I figured he
He
would.
could play Wonky Sonic.
Oh,
Just saying.
Chad.
TM.
Okay, you might be able to come to Sonic Symphony. We'll see.
Okay, you're
That's
reinvited.
really
Chad.
good. That's really good.
And he gets his bare hands and feet all covered in chili dog sauce.
He just looks at his bare human hands. He's like, "That's no good." 90s kids would love that.
Yeah.
Hey, 90s kids remember that?
They're laughing. They're
They
on
lo-
the
you
floor
guys are
right
off
now.
their
They're
seats.
2 cars crashed.
Yeah.
It's on
they
the
get it.
freeway. Just,
Yeah, they get it. I remember the first time I was actually a Nintendo kid, so fuck you guys. But,
Wow.
but
Well, Sega does what Nintendo don't, but
well,
No.
I'm not disagreeing. But I stay loyal, to my true fan base. So.
okay.
But no, the first time I ever saw Sonic was I went to a Costco, and you remember they used to display the games,
Yeah.
and you could play them. And that's the first time I ever saw it, and I was like, "What the hell is this?" And I knew what the Sega Genesis was, obviously, but I didn't know what Sonic was necessarily because it was brand new. And I started playing it. I was like, "This is an awesome game." I don't know what this hedgehog thing is, but I love this.
I don't know what a hedgehog is.
I don't know what a
period.
hedgehog is, and I certainly didn't know they could move this fast.
Yeah.
But I loved it, and so, but yeah, I started playing the games after that, and yeah, that's I watched the cartoons. I like there was the 2 cartoons. Remember, one was more of like a Saturday morning,
Yeah,
kind of like
yeah.
kids cartoon.
Sonic
Yeah.
Sat AM.
Yeah, and then there was another one that was like much darker, where he was like a resistance fighter.
Oh, that's the Sat AM one.
That's yes.
Sat
yeah,
AM
yeah.
is the resistance fighter,
Right.
and then just Sonic the Hedgehog is
Yeah.
like the wacky, episodic,
Yeah.
daily, weekly
Yeah.
hijinks.
But I like
thing.
that one. I like the dark one better because Dr. Robotnik had remember these robot soldiers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They would,
like
tear
wacky.
through.
And Sally
Robot and-
Acorn.
Yeah.
This is a Sonic the Hedgehog pervert alert.
Speaking of which, Chad, did you?
Speaking of perverts.
Did you? What's your experience with Sonic?
Well, I briefly saw a bit of the old goofy Jaleel White show, and then I played on Genesis, the rented from Blockbuster, Sonic, and 1 and 2, and I couldn't beat them. They found them very difficult, and they introduced anxiety to my life much earlier than probably needed or necessary. Exactly. And then later, Sonic X was on Saturday mornings, and I watched some of that, and I enjoyed that version too.
What was the kid's name? Chris?
I don't know. He was annoying enough to forget.
Forget.
His name. Oh, Sonic! Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
You can censor this out, but Chris is a cuck. I hate Chris so fucking much. Yeah, I don't know. Look at what minute we at. Write that down because I hate that kid so much.
Mason Nation.
Mason hashtag.
Mason
Follow,
Nation.
smash that like.
Has released an official statement on Chris. He's a cuck. Why did you like Sonic 3 the best of all these, Dan?
It's the simplest formula of all. Mm-hmm. Less humans, more characters we care about every time. So the first one I really enjoyed. Mm-hmm. The second one, they brought us Tails and Knuckles. This one, they brought us Metal Sonic, Shadow, Amy, Knuckles, Tails. There were so many of the characters that I actually have an interest in seeing on the screen.
They can cut back from...
Yeah. They can cut back on the humans, which I actually... This might be happenstance. This might be rumor, speculation. But I think they did a lot of this during the strikes.
Oh, it makes
sense. So they were able to actually...
complete more...
more footage with the CGI characters than with actual humans. Because they weren't able to, and they worked around it. But it worked for its benefit, honestly. Because also, it's the third movie of a franchise. They have a budget for it now. You might just... And it's not like you're making realistic things. Like, they're still cartoon character hedgehogs. Yeah. Like, just spend a little money.
Well, I mean, it's that old, saying when the animator is just like, oh, you have plenty of time to animate this. And he's like, we have time? And then they can go as intricate as they need to.
Yeah.
And,
and they look great. Like, you can see the hair moving on them really well.
Yeah, and the designs look great. I mean, I really dug Shadow in this movie. I thought he was...
What do you guys think of Keanu as Shadow?
I love
Shadow.
it.
Great.
I think
he's
Shadow.
He's so great.
It was an interesting... it was a good choice because of the tonal voice between Shadow and Sonic. He's so... up and lighthearted, and he's just down here.
Yeah, I saw an interview with Keanu. Sorry.
No, yeah.
And he was talking about like finding that timbre for his voice.
Yeah.
Because he knew like Idris was all the way down here.
Yeah.
And like Ben Schwartz is all the way up here, and he's like, I had to be placed somewhere in the middle with that.
True. And the one thing that was just like, I know since he was it 50? He was trapped there for 50 years? 50 years? Yeah. So I was like... it didn't bother me, but I thought about it when they first cast him. I was like, well, that's an older voice for Shadow. But like since he's been there for 50 years, it's like, okay, he's an older hedgehog.
Yeah.
He's not young.
And we don't know how old he was when he landed.
that too. But
and I also think the new movie is going to, because of the pattern they're trending towards, I think the new movie, I think we're going back to Mobius. The Sonic's planet that he came from.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what that big explosion in the black hole led to, where Amy was able to come to his world. Mm-hmm. I think that's what we're leading to, is that world is now open.
Yeah.
Do you think that's where Robotnik is?
Robotnik's alive, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, do you think he went
I think he's there, and I think he might be even in the future.
He's trapping those animals in that little egg thing?
I think they might be in the Metal Sonics. Because this one has more than one Metal Sonic.
Mm-hmm. Is that in the game? Are animals in the Metal Sonics?
Well, no. In the games,
there's only one Metal Sonic.
There's only one Metal Sonic. Well, different variations throughout the games, but like it's usually not run by a Jibby. What are they called again? The birds, the little animals. Yeah. But. Yeah, I think the next one's going to be fun. And also, I'm the biggest Amy Rose fan. I think she's so cool.
It was so funny because I don't really know Amy Rose. I don't know the character.
Yeah, me neither.
Like, but being in I started opening weekend with my kid, and we're sitting there, and then when that hammer showed up, the fucking place exploded. Yes. All these kids around me were like it was fucking like it was like. I can only imagine, it's like, if anyone didn't know anything about comic books, when like Thanos showed up.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what it felt like, because everyone was just like fucking losing their minds
when she took that hood off.
Yeah,
it was so surreal because I had a theater of people I didn't know pointing at me and staring.
You
and
made this happen
because I said something
right,
like when it was quiet, because
they had like three characters that are already loaded up, ready to go. It's like, okay, we're gonna do Rogue. We're gonna that guy fucking mentioned Amy Rose. Okay,
yeah, so they picked the Amy Rose ending based on me.
Yeah, exactly.
I am excited to see if like Rouge the Bat's in it in the next one. I don't know how they would probably do her justice. Like But the thing is, I would like, more characters from the Sonic universe. I'd love for us to go to Green Hill Zone.
Yeah.
Like they tease in the first movie of like when he started out with the loops and the checkered pattern floors. And I'm just, I think the franchise, okay. This is what Sonic fans, if you were listening to this and you have any interest in Sonic, you know what it's been like to be a Sonic fan your entire life. You used to be so cool because you liked Sonic. And Sonic could do no wrong.
Yeah.
And then you still loved Sonic, but he put out some games that were really hard to defend for a very long time.
True.
I think to this day, Sonic games haven't really hit their mark again. You know, it's like those first few are really solid. And it was very much like, oh, you like Mario, whatever. I have a hedgehog with attitude.
Yeah.
You know, who like stares at you awkwardly if you don't move him on screen.
Yeah.
But then like gaming moved on, everything went more 3D, and it's like hard to do that character in a 3-dimensional world. You know, where you're not side scrolling, and I feel like they still haven't really. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's a game out there now.
Well, there's Sonic Frontiers.
Frontiers is closer.
Yeah.
So Sonic Mania, I think, started the revolution because we had games like Sonic and the Secret Rings and Sonic and the Black Knight.
What
and
was the one where he turned into a werewolf?
Sonic Unleashed. So like you had like these games in the 2000s where like the songs were bops still. Crush 40 was releasing some Sonic bops, but the games were like, especially with the Wii, was just like unbearable to play.
Yes.
And I remember getting a Sonic and the Secret Rings for the Wii and being like, oh my God, a Sonic game for the Wii? Playing it for 15 minutes and be like, well, this is in the trash forever now. But Sonic Mania and Tyson Hess specifically really took the reins on like, what do Sonic fans really want? It's not just that they want the old games back. They want this sort of style back. And not just pixelated, but like they want Sonic to represent something differently. Not just like this cocky dude with hey, look at me, chili dog. But like, you know, like he's like there for his friends. He stands up for like things that are smaller than him. He fights oppressive things that are bigger than him. And like with the help of his friends that have different things that he can't do, they can all do it together. So I think the games have been really relying heavily more on that. And Sonic Superstars kind of found a nice blend of doing like a platforming 2D game in like a 3D space. Sonic Frontier, what Chad was saying, was one, I don't actually know how it was received, but it's Breath of the Wild meets Tony Hawk Pro Skater meets
I'd say those two. Really.
You get me a little downstairs tingle when you print those two together.
Because like it's an open world Sonic game where you can literally just like bounce off a spring, grind on a rail, and then it dash to whatever next thing, and then you just continue. It's like for my ADHD brain, it is just literally like this dopamine inducing game where I'm just like I bounce up, grind on a thing, and then for like a safety net, you can go into past games and play levels from past games to get like points towards other
fix kind of thing.
And you have a leveling up system of like you can level up your speed, level up your strength to fight stronger enemies. And then they have the butt rock plane, like when you fight like giant Goliath bosses as Super Sonic. So you got the butt rock, you got like this. Oh, it's so tranquil in a way because like when you're not doing the butt rock sort of action boss fights, like it's this calm, serene music because you're just in an open field jumping around as Sonic.
Wow.
It's like, I don't know how to describe it other than like you should really try it.
The Superman Returns game where they haven't gotten a Superman game down perfectly, but I'd say that's the closest they've done well in the sense the sonic boom of just flying around the city like that kind of has the same feel as Sonic Frontier.
It's more open world.
Yeah, it's just tranquil while you're flying around, and you could just go super fast when you want to.
Lots of discovery involved in it.
Yeah.
It's really I would highly suggest like if you give yourself 2 hours with it, you'll know if you like it or hate it. When I picked it up, I couldn't stop playing it because it was just so like I zoned out, and I get like anxiety attacks and panic attacks sometimes.
Yeah.
And I remember I was actually not having a panic attack; those are way worse. But I was having like an anxiety attack when I first started playing it, and by the time I realized it was gone, I was like 3 or 4 hours into the game, and I was like, "Oh my god, I didn't even realize, where am I?" Like, it was, I don't know, it just felt so nice, and I always think of it as like this pleasant experience now.
Oh, okay. Well, now I know what I'm doing tomorrow.
It's so fun, man.
Well, for those games though, didn't everyone love Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So like, why don't they just do those games in the sense?
They kind of are. They're adding like elements from them, like.
Well, but I mean, like how you said that they want them to go back to that kind of 2D side-scrolling, but like, why do that if people really loved Sonic Adventure?
Well, because it's like, if you think about it, those games were popular amongst like the core Sonic fans because like they could see the benefits and the good behind.
It never broke out.
It wasn't a huge successful breakout thing. At least like when playground wise, when I was playing them, like you didn't have like a vast well of people to like bounce stuff off of.
Yeah.
So like I would only have my playground memories of Sonic, even though I was like 15 to 18. But but
last week.
I was on the playground still. Yeah. A bunch of kids were telling me to get out of there. It was weird and awkward, but like I think those games are like hindsight games is what I guess the closest thing I can describe them as.
Nostalgia kind of rubbing games.
Yeah. Right. And like, so like the same way I could pick up Sonic 1 through 3 right now and just like close my eyes and get through the first 5 levels maybe.
Yeah.
There's a lot of the generation right after me that is their Sonic intro.
Gotcha.
But that generation also like, so the same way I associate Sonic with like like their Sonic is like Crush 40, like live and learn, like that kind of butt rock. Like, so that's how they kind of associate, like that's their Sonic. Like there's so many different iterations through the generations of him. But like their generation also had like the Sonic the Hedgehog 2006 remake that wasn't really well done. And they had Sonic Boom, Rise of Lyric, which is notoriously one of the worst games ever made. And it's glitchy as hell. And if you ever want to see anything fun, the Game Grumps have a great playthrough of it. But like they lived through their own kind of natural disasters. So the same way that we had like a few stinkers that like Sonic Racing that didn't kick off the way that they wanted to. And, but like they had their own little hiccups.
Sonic Pinball is still a dope game.
Sonic Spinball is, first of all, I have it on vinyl because that soundtrack slaps.
Yeah, it does.
Slaps, yes.
That slaps cheeks, Chad.
I mean, I'm sure it does. I don't doubt it.
Oh my god!
Sure it
I wouldn't be able to.
cheeks.
I wouldn't be able to say no. I haven't heard it myself.
But Sonic Spinball, you can only play for like the first 2 levels before you start getting like very upset at the pinball. Thing.
I see. That's the thing. Like, I was never a fan of pinball in general, so I wouldn't be able to get into Sonic pinball specifically. Only because it's just like, okay, we're bouncing around.
Once you start losing control, like the first level, you have a lot of control over Sonic and like where he can go in the space when you launch him off of stuff. After like the first or second level, it becomes very much environmental. And man, when you lose control of that thing, you get real pissed real fast.
And Sonic versus Sonic Knuckles,
which is so cool.
Yeah,
that story of like when you're a kid and you see this. The cartridge opens up at the top and you can put another cartridge in. It's literally because the game was supposed to be one game.
Yeah.
And it was just too big that they were like, well, we don't have the means of making it the game it's supposed to be, so we're going to release it as 2 games and click them together. And then
first DLC.
Yeah.
Honestly it was, because like then you would put like the original Sonic game and like you'd be like the Chase the Blue Sphere game, or like you'd put on the second Sonic 2 and it would be like the half pipe game or whatever. So it's like you put in different things and different stuff would happen. It was just it was very like
I mean, and they had to use. I mean, they were doing what they could with the technology they had, and they found a really great way around things. So
yeah, and you could save your game and play as different characters. You could play as just Tails, just Knuckles. Mm-hmm. It was very cool at the time, and 2-player was really fun.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was my theater was erupting pretty much every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Particularly during the space battle. Especially when
when
Sonic
they
and
Super Saiyan
and they were right next to each other and dude that was the largest eruption of any.
I mean honestly I was watching that going like, this is a fucking Dragon Ball movie.
Sonic 3 is the best Dragon Ball Z movie there is.
It really is. It's crazy. And like you've got like basically Vegeta, which is Shadow. You know, like it all fucking, and like, you know, Knuckles you could say was Piccolo, you know. It's just like it all kind of, there's this great little like are these movies secretly fucking great Dragon Ball movies?
They're the best Dragon Ball Z movies that we have so far.
That's a good point.
Like but
poor Tails is Krillin though. I mean,
Tails is Krillin, but Tails is so Colleen O'Shaughnessy.
She's great
as Tails. She is transcendent as this character, and she makes Tails not just like the sidekick little brother player or whatever that like he could have been. You know, like,
do you know how she got picked for the role or anything? Because I don't, you know, it's not like usually with these big budget movies, it'll be like, you know, there's an, you know,
because she's the actual Tails.
You're right.
So like,
but you know, like they didn't.
Why they didn't go with another
cast a big name. Like Angelina Jolie is Tails, you know. Like,
you know what? I would love to know that story, and I don't think they'll ever tell us. You know, because it's so like, it seems like such a political.
I wonder if
thing like, to say in the industry of like, you know.
Yeah, I wonder if there was like fan pushback of like, please, like, okay, we're Ben Schwartz's Sonic, we get that, but please give us our Tails.
It was still early enough where maybe they were just like, we could just do the original Tails, but like. It also goes to show you
Zendaya.
It's
or
like
probably they just no voice really fit Tails other than the Tails voice actor.
I mean, and Rob Paulson, like I think fights for this a lot too. Of just like just use voice actors, man.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Ben Schwartz and everyone, they do like a fantastic job, and that's like a testament to them. But like, you know. Colleen is also in the other end of that spectrum where it's like, oh my God, she is Tails.
Right.
And if like every time Tails spoke, you were just like, this is so cute, or it's like, it's so touching, or it's so sentimental, or, you know, it just meant so much more.
Yeah.
And she was just
I hope
crazy.
she's getting, you know, a decent paycheck. I mean, like, obviously you get like Keanu or Idris Elba there.
Right.
Yeah.
That comes with a hefty price. So I'm hoping that it equals out. But
I wouldn't mind if there were Tails shorts on Paramount to lead us up into the Sonic 4.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that'd be more digestible. It'd be easier to get Colleen, probably schedule-wise. But also, like, it's a character that we've seen for 2 movies now. But you know what? There's still a lot to flesh out there.
Yeah.
He just kind of popped up.
Yeah.
I mean, and I've seen the movies a lot, and if you were to ask me questions, the whole thing would break apart in seconds because I'd be like, I don't know why that happens. I don't know why they can breathe in space. I don't know why they can do this. I don't, you know, like the movies fall apart under the smallest scrutiny.
Yeah, I saw someone post something like, Sonic can't breathe underwater, but he can breathe in space. Come on.
It's like, they fall apart really quickly, but the thing is, like, they're so fun, and I think we can spend the next 7 hours talking about Jim Carrey.
Yes.
Jim Carrey said he was retiring from acting.
Yes, I know.
And then he's like, I'm not coming back unless there's this dream role that just is made for me. And I think he nailed it.
I think he nailed it. Yeah.
He looks like he's having a blast doing it. I mean, obviously, like, you know, and he's putting himself, he's like really shaving his head and having the other, I mean, like, he elevated the actor that played Agent Stone. I don't know the actor's name.
I forgot his name too, but he's so good. You know, I love Agent Stone.
It was supposed to be, you know, like the whole line of like, I love your way.
Lee Majdoub.
Yep.
I think that's how that's pronounced.
That sounds.
Apologies if that's not
100% accurate.
Probably, yeah.
But no, I mean, like their pairing is fantastic.
Yeah, very much so.
And where, I mean, these movies, I mean, like, it's so weird. Like, I'm amazed at how well these movies are made.
Yeah, man.
And how they were very restrained. The first one was very restrained, and like they didn't go crazy with the cosmic stuff or anything like that. They were like, we're going to tell a grounded story about this kid who wants a family, basically.
Right.
Yep.
You know, and from there on, it's like they're building this family dynamic up, and they're building these characters up, and you get Tails, who's like inspired by Sonic, and like is kind of the little brother, you know. And then you get Knuckles, who's the big brother who doesn't want to have, be told what to do by Sonic and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, depending on where they go next. I mean, I've heard rumors of a Shadow movie, a single Shadow movie by itself. I've heard, like obviously Shadow will be back. We see a little bit of him at the post credits where he picks up a ring. So, I love that they've taken a real time with all of this. And yeah, it's fantastic.
They also didn't explain too much about Shadow.
No.
And
no.
He's a complete mystery even at the end. Yeah. Like you were saying, the post credit.
Yeah.
He picks up his gauntlets that he has on his wrist after, right? And it's because those gauntlets harness his chaos energy. So without it, he becomes unstable and super powerful and could like destroy the universe. But those keep him in check, which is why he removes them to like push and get extra power to move the space shuttle. But they don't ever really establish that, even though once again that is the most Dragon Ball Z shit. It's like when Goku and Piccolo take off their robes and they thud on the floor, and it's like the super extra weight that they train in. But like that's what his is, and like so like when he takes those off, the theater erupted because they all knew like, oh shit, like that's when Goku takes off his robe and like but like I went and saw it in some theaters where he would do it and like no one knew what was actually happening. Right. Just like, oh, okay, I guess he's taking his gloves off.
But I'm glad no one was like, he just took off his gauntlets.
I
Those
did.
Power dampeners will keep his power in check.
I did want him to say Chaos Control once because he's famously Chaos Control and like just like I was hoping he would like take off the things and go Chaos Control, and then
I'm sure they'll save that for the next one.
Just
now, I was trying to look it up just a second ago, but I guess they don't have a specific listing of who voiced Amy at the end.
She didn't talk.
I thought she said something. She's like, "Hey, there's some."
No, she just took her. Hood
so
off.
She didn't say anything.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
Yeah.
That was just the voice in your head going, "Hey there, Tiger."
Hey there, Tiger.
Yeah. So I'm curious if they'll go with the voice actor, celebrity voice for that.
I am curious too. I feel like they would go a celebrity.
Who you casted?
Yeah.
You know what?
That's a good question.
Who's Aquafina in this world?
Yeah, right. She's gonna be Blaze the cat, but
you heard it here, folks.
Yep.
Honestly, I did have like someone that I was thinking of, but then I kind of forgot who it was. But I think a lot of people could do Amy justice or like a new spin on Amy. I do think the original voice actor is incredible, and also in Sonic Frontiers, I'm blanking on her name, but she's also shown a lot of range with what she can do with Amy Rose, because Amy Rose started out as like this like, oh my god, I love Sonic so much, and like
that's how I know Amy. That's all.
Yeah, like she started as that, but she was like also like when you first see Amy Rose, she's a fortune teller. Like she's like reading tarot cards, and like she flips them over and she sees that like Sonic's coming to save their island, and like that's what motivates her to like take action. But then like she gets kidnapped. It's one of those things. But then as they've been releasing the strings more on her being like a love interest to Sonic and like chasing Sonic and him being like, ew, no way, oh, whatever. And then like, and then like now they're making her more of like, they gave her the Pico Pico hammer and like she fights back and she's a leader of the rebellion and like she
passes the Brickle test.
Yeah, yes. So specifically the IDW comic books nailed Amy Rose, like the tone of her perfectly. Check please what I just said. But they got the tone of her perfectly. The IDW comics are so good. They really like find the sweet spot of like what the Sonic cartoon should have probably been back in the day. But like Amy Rose is such a well-rounded character, and I think that they're going to bring the strong leader, rebellious leader into the movies. I think she's going to be leading the rebellion against these metal Sonics and Robotnik.
Nice. And yeah, I mean, these movies are doing so well. I mean, like, I feel like they can cast anyone they want to throw their net out. I mean, so I'm looking forward to Dame Judi Dench.
Yeah. She did so good as a cat. She might as well be a hedgehog.
Exactly. She's like, let me at it.
Like, I will say, I loved Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik, and he played it very zany and fun. But if they went, like, if we went back and they had a more serious version of him, and if this actor was still alive, I think Raul Julia would have killed it as Robotnik.
Oh, first I thought you were going to say James Gandolfini.
Oh, nah.
I did remember the Amy Rose voice, but I don't know her name. The girl that played Sabrina.
The Teenage Witch?
Yeah. Not Melissa Joan Hart, the new one.
The new one. Okay.
The new one with, like, the white hair.
Yeah.
And this is in the new cartoon?
No. That's who I'm saying would make a good live action.
Oh, I see.
I think she has, like, a feisty, young, energetic, fighting kind of voice.
Okay.
Let's say what Melissa Joan Hart's interesting. Choice.
Melissa Joan Hart's not my cast for Amy Rose, but I'm blanking on her name. But she's
Alex Mack. That's who you want.
The girl who played Alex Mack. But yeah, the Sabrina, the new Sabrina.
Yeah,
I think
she was a Mad Men as well as the daughter. I forgot her name now.
Yeah.
She's great though.
We know. We're all saying it at the same time right now.
She was terrible though.
Kiernan Shipka?
She was in Red One. She was the witch in Red
Kiernan
One.
Shipka.
Yeah.
She was also in Long Legs.
That's right.
She was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my Sonic spiel.
Yeah.
Well, what was, aside from the Amy Rose part, what was your favorite part of the movie?
Amy Rose.
Amy Rose. Aside
No,
from
my favorite part was there was a few moments where I was like, because when you see it 5 times, there's like the times you know when you're going to the bathroom and the times like you stick around for. I mean, the Sonic, just all of Act 3 really kind of is like plant your seat for Act 3. Make sure you like go to the bathroom and everything. But like by the time Ivo and Gerald bring up the Robotniks. Yeah. Once they bring up the secret weapon, I think it's like seats down for the rest of the movie for me.
I was really worried with Jim Carrey playing 2 characters. Yeah, I thought like, oh, this is gonna be too much.
Certainly, they're jumping the shark here.
Yeah.
And then there was all the memes with them in the spandex suits doing the dance,
which is a really good dance.
Which I'm like,
I really want to learn the
whole
dance.
Movie? No, I mean they really did restrain it well.
Which is crazy when you think about it,
right? You know, and they played the emotion of like Ivo trying to connect with family, like, and like even with Gerald and like the whole story with his daughter dying, and
his granddaughter,
sorry,
Maria,
but it's been a while.
I'm inviting 2 people to Sonic Symphony. Is all I'm saying.
I'll bring a friend then. Okay.
No, but yeah, like, and originally in that story, they shoot Maria. Gunn shoots Maria and kills her. So I was curious how they were going to skirt around Maria's death in this movie. I think they did it as tastefully as one could kill a child in a kid's movie.
I mean,
for sure.
No.
But how was what game was that in? Where they?
That was Sonic Adventure 2.
Oh, okay. I was just curious.
Or Sonic Adventure. It was one of those.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, they shoot Maria in the original.
Oh, wow.
But they gave her a cute thing. And like, they also made like, they didn't make Shadow any different. He was still like kind of like stand back-ish and like, but he wasn't like rough and like what we see him as after Maria's death. He's just still like, you know, like, what's going on here? Like, what's singing? What's dancing? I don't know this stuff. This is new to me. And like when he's like, do you think I'm like that monster from the movie? Like, it's like, do I feel bad for Shadow right now?
They didn't full on Winter Soldier him.
Yeah.
I thought that's kind of what they were going with, but you know, I mean, you do get to see him with a gun at one point, which is very much, you know, like just a little tip of the hat.
The Akira slide he does on his motorcycle.
I love that.
Yeah.
But they get rid of that pretty quick. He's not like, you know,
he's not a gun-toting lunatic for all of it.
Exactly. So
he's not like Stan.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why he's a wuss. So,
I mean, the gun didn't even have real bullets. It was just like
was it
laser.
tasers?
I was like, what is that anyway?
Oh my god. I was also like, you know what? What else did I see recently that like made me think of like Shadow or something? And I thought of Nosferatu for a second. And I was like, it's a different movie, I guess.
A little different vibe.
Yeah, slightly different.
You know when like Shadow stands up from his coffin and his dawn is out?
Yeah, well, that was my favorite part of the movie.
There's the poster for this week.
That is a Sonic the Hedgehog pervert.
The crowd definitely erupted when they saw that.
That is enough of that.
Well, I think you're not wrong in that comparison. I mean, Nosferatu was obsessed with the girl. I forget the character's name all of a sudden. And then obviously Shadow's obsessed with Maria, and Maria's dead, but the other one's alive and dead and alive in Nosferatu.
You guys already talked about Nosferatu,
yeah, we
right?
did.
Yeah, I heard. So
did you watch it?
Did I watch Nosferatu?
Yeah,
I did.
Okay.
I had a panic attack in the theater and
Did
had
you
to
really?
leave a few times. Yeah.
Because of what? The rats or
no? Just you can't really pick what happens when you have them. But I was like just sitting down.
I can though.
Chad's usually the reason I have them.
He's picking them for you. He's like now.
But funny enough,
he's reaching across the Burbank.
Yeah, his little shadow just reached across Burbank to the AMC 16.
Grips your heart.
I can see Chad standing on his balcony
with his dong
out.
But the shadow cat is cast by his dong and it's just reaching out. But funny enough, when I was having my panic attack, I had to get up and walk out and leave. But I bought a Sonic and Dr. Robotnik action figure that I cuddled with me for the rest of Nosferatu.
There you go.
Comfort animals.
It was comfort animals, really.
Yeah.
All right, good. I mean, did you enjoy it at least, aside from that?
I did. I was a little distracted. I would probably have to see it again.
Yeah.
But I thought it was actually one of the most like visually stunning movies I've seen in years.
So.
More so than Sonic 3?
No, absolutely not. Maybe you didn't see when he took off his cuffs and moved the fucking ship and blew up half the moon.
I mean, no, that was very good.
That was a real movie, unlike Nosferatu.
100% practical too. They blew up the moon.
100% practical.
I will say, and when I saw it the second time with Dan, I was like, my favorite joke in the movie is coming up, and he knew exaczly which one I was talking about.
We both said it at the same time, and we will not rephrase it here.
Well, no, I mean, it's when they're all after the key in the Gunt complex.
It's Gun.
I keep adding a T. I don't know why. In the theater.
What are you talking about?
That sounds like a 1950s slur for somebody.
Or a band.
Yeah.
Come see Gunt.
Gun sat alone on a bench in the park.
I mean, Gunt sounds better than Gun.
It doesn't. Please stop saying it. And you're using like a hard T, which hurts too.
Hard T. What's up with that? Gunt.
Well,
Gunt.
You got to pronounce it.
You're being a real Gunt right now.
Oh my god.
It's a very Anglo-Saxon word.
Yes, very much so.
But they're all stuck to the floor. And then I forget what the younger Robotnik just goes, "Can you believe it?" And then it goes to Gerald Robotnik, and he's like, "Yeah, women in the military." And it was so out of place. I just laughed so hard at that because I did not expect that in that movie. I was like,
it's just so funny because we all know that one person that's a little too old and out of touch that says something at the very wrong moment where it just catches you off guard of just like, oh my god, did they just say that?
Why are you all looking at me for?
Well, it's because you're our old person that says shit. There we go. Don't be a Gunt, Stan.
Don't be a Gunt. I say Gunt a lot.
Yeah. Well, now you guys know the stickers for your next con. Don't be a Gunt.
Don't be a Gunt.
That's going to be on the poster for
the
Gunt.
Enter the Nerdom. Don't be a Gunt.
Don't be a Gunt.
Don't be a Gunt. Enter the Nerdom.
Hard T.
Yeah, hard T.
Hard T.
Just a shirt that says hard T.
That's all it's going to say.
It's all I'm going to say.
Don't forget to cross that hard T.
I don't like that. I don't like where this is going now.
Oh my god.
It's Jesus.
I don't think Jesus likes hard T's.
Gunts, yeah.
Well, I mean, tell that to Catholicism.
Yeah, okay, I'll talk to them right away.
I mean, they have a big cross in the
Is
fucking
there anything
church.
we can change the subject to?
I don't think he wants to walk in there.
Is there anything we can change the subject
Yeah, that's where I
to?
died. Thank you. Thank you for letting me see that again.
I will talk about Count Orlok's Dawn for 15 minutes if we can just please.
That's a hard T.
Where did this go?
I'm sorry.
Where did this go wrong?
This is why these episodes need to be an hour long.
Yeah, seriously.
After an hour,
You have to learn to edit. So
yeah, honestly.
Oh my god.
Now let's get into Sonic fanfic.
Yeah, definitely. Pregnant Sonic fanfic specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah, read yours.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So, Princess Daisy pulls down her dress. and
Oh,
Sonic says,
no.
Gotta go fast.
Hard tea, guys. Hard tea.
Hard to
Sonic 3.
on digital now.
On digital now.
Yeah.
Are you gonna get it on Blu-ray?
Did you buy it already?
Yeah.
No, because I wanted to be alone.
Wait a second.
I meant to say. I meant to say when I have time to actually say it and watch it is usually when like Tiffany's at Disneyland or something. So I just meant to say the next time like she's out and I'm doing something, I'm gonna buy it so I can watch it.
And the dogs don't look at you in
yeah,
shame.
when I like lock the door behind me and dim the lights so I can watch like Jim Carrey in a wax suit.
Oh my god.
Do you own the first two on? Blu-ray or DVD or whatever?
I gotta go physical.
Well, I hope you're physical.
Yeah, gotta go physical.
Gotta go physical. That's why he wants to be alone.
There's
I
the next
will
shirt.
say,
Gotta go physical.
I work at Warner Brothers, and I have the 2 Sonic movie posters behind my desk. And when people come in for like business meetings, they get very thrown off.
Yeah, you got a really cool gift of a Sonic poster.
Yes, Paramount sent me a signed. It's Sonic 2, but a signed cast poster of Sonic 2.
So rad.
If Jim Carrey is on it. I have a signed Jim Carrey poster.
That's sick, man.
Which is like,
There you go.
And Paramount sent you this?
yeah.
Wow. How did that happen?
So someone I work with, and I do some stuff with them for Paramount. They know I'm a big Sonic fan, even though
They're trying to poach you.
They were trying to poach me.
Trying to headhunt.
Sometimes they send me stuff like throughout the years, like they send me the posters that are in my office right now. So when the new movie came out, they gave me a box of like some plushies, like the popcorn bucket heads, the cups, and then they also told me like be careful with the poster, it's signed. So I was like, that's
cool.
No effing way. Yeah. Like who's missing, or you know what I mean? Like, so I looked and it's all of them, and I was like,
crazy.
It was so cool.
I'm sure they just hired a bunch of PAs to just.
Yeah,
That's right, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they all just look like they're like fake as shit. But
That one looks like
This
a
one
chicken.
just says, "Alrighty, you."
yeah, you know my catchphrase.
Yes.
I'm John Kerry.
Oh, okay. So Sonic 3, you honestly recommend it?
Yeah, I honestly
Or recommend?
it's so fun. It's
Yeah.
it's so fun. It's the most easily digestible movie.
It was on my list of best movies for last year.
I can't believe the Oscars snubbed it. To be honest,
Did it get
It's
anything?
ridiculous.
No.
well, it can't for some reason, right?
Really?
Can't?
Yeah, I didn't read the article because I don't.
Was
I
it
don't
because
read
it was
clickbait
being
shit, but
made during the strike or something?
It
Or
was
like
something.
animated? Oh.
I don't know, but like, yeah,
Well,
it's fun as hell.
Since you're such a Sonic aficionado,
Pervert.
and well, yes,
And
that too.
Yeah.
Self-proclaimed pervert.
Yeah.
For those who aren't as well such an aficionado
Pervert.
and pervert, if they wanted to dive into more Sonic that could
Pervosity.
relate to the movies, what would you say? In a cartoon, a comic book, or
So the movies are so on
I
their
know they
own.
are, yeah.
And I wouldn't recommend Sonic X just because they mix with the human world.
Yeah, they do.
I would highly suggest. It's kind of like what Power Rangers was for me, and also IDW did Power Rangers. No, Boom Studios did Power Ranger comics.
Yeah.
But IDW, they have these original Sonic stories where they flesh out the characters, they give them time to marinate, and they actually give them like longevity and like long form storytelling. And it's really, really cool. And it's like what the Boom Studios did for Power Rangers for me, where it's like, this is what I thought Sonic was in my head. Because like, I just, you think he's the coolest thing. You think he does all these things, but like you look back and you're like, I guess I just kind of invented it.
Right.
But like,
It's like watching like the first few seasons of Transformer cartoons, like from the 80s. And you're
Yeah.
like, Transformers so cool. And you watch that cartoon, you're like, what?
I guess I kind of like implement most of these things in my own
Yeah.
head over
You
time.
just make your head canon.
But I think Sonic from IDW, and then also Sonic Prism on Netflix right now is kind of a fun way for kids to get involved.
Yeah, my kid likes that show a lot.
Really?
It's skewed young, but it's different multiverse. It's a multiverse show. Okay. So like they do pirates, space stuff, post-apocalyptic versions, and like it's a fun way to like keep an active kid's mind like racing as you're going. But there's a lot of different like I said, I personally, when I get very stressed and I'm like very upset about something, or like something from work is not clicking, or I just can't solve something, I usually just put on Sonic 1 or 2 or 3 and just like play it while I'm thinking. Yeah. And like that's that awesome. Like helps kind of like clear out the pipes for me. So like Sonic is a very like sort of like respite sort of piece of calming, it does a lot of things for me. Also, one of my favorite memories, and I can leave it on this, one of my favorite memories that I will have on my deathbed is my friend Andre got invited to the Sonic Symphony, but he got to see the rehearsal. Oh, that's awesome. And so he took me as his guest, and it was just us two while they rehearsed the entire show of Sonic Symphony with just us two in the Dolby Theater.
That's awesome.
Where they do the Oscars and everything. Yeah. So they're just performing the full show to us alone, and then that night we got to do it with the crowd and like the glow sticks and like the people singing along, and like that day I will remember on my deathbed, because it's just like the original Sonic game music is like played by a symphony and an orchestra. And it's so beautiful. And then they do like a halftime break, and then it's like the crazy like rock and roll stuff.
That's great.
But like I swear to God, like the sensation I had that day, I don't know how I could explain. Like it was like all these like nostalgic memories of Sonic mixed with new memories of stuff I was less familiar with. And then like when we were talking to people once they started coming in, it was just such a cool experience. Nice. I'd highly recommend that Sonic Symphony show to anybody.
And you passed the conductor in the hallway, and then you're like, "Hey!" and he tossed you his conducting wand.
You're the conductor now, Dan. And then I had to get on stage. Yeah, I gave him a Coke.
Yeah.
Exactly. He tossed his jersey to me.
He pulls off his human face. It's wonky Sonic.
Yeah. He just winks at me with like a crooked eye. Just Mean Joe, the conductor of our...
Yeah.
So yeah, Sonic 3, go watch it.
Yes.
It's out today.
Yay.
And get it on physical media, because we need physical media.
Physical media.
Or just DM me. It's Morphin Time 17, and I'll go to your house and watch it with you.
There you go.
He'll just say the whole movie, just like,
I'll reenact it out.
Yeah, he'll act out.
Live and learn. He has all the outfits.
Yep. Some scantily clad, some not.
Yeah,
exactly. He's like dressed half Sonic, half Shadows.
Yeah.
Depending what side he's on.
You wouldn't like me at my Shadow, then you don't deserve me at my Sonic.
He'll transform into Sonic himself, just like a transformation.
A golden god.
There's a quick intermission where he's got to spray himself with gold paint in the bathroom.
He comes with a bucket of gold, just pours on himself.
It's for Act 3.
Yeah.
Speaking of transforming into something, we all just watched The Wolfman as well, just recently. Well, I mean, I did. I thought you watched it.
I didn't get to. No.
I didn't get to.
Oh, you didn't? Oh, I thought you guys watched it.
No.
Speaking of transforming, let's transform to a movie we've all seen.
Well, have you seen it, Dan?
No.
God damn it. You guys, why the hell did you guys watch it, dude?
I had a sick
I didn't have time.
Oh, well.
Do you guys really need to air this out on live?
We do. Yeah, we do. God damn it.
Wow.
But please talk about it.
It's about a guy that transforms into a wolf.
Hey!
Hello.
Next topic. No, it's I mean, it's it's a pretty good movie. People were kind of shitting on it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a decent movie.
How did it fare against werewolves?
So people have asked me. I've also asked me this question. I think that in terms of action and in terms of entertaining werewolves, werewolves is probably better. As far as actually entertainment, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, because this movie, so it's
Frank Grillo just showed up and gave you $20.
Hey, Frank Grillo, sit down.
Thanks, kid.
Thanks, but yeah.
Watch Punisher on Netflix.
That's a different guy, but
That's a definitely.
He just likes that show.
I was like, what are you talking
Frank
about?
Grillo's Rick Flex Senior and Creature Commandos,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Who's great in that?
he's also Skull.
Yeah, have you guys seen that
Crossbones.
show?
Yeah,
Talk about
Crossbones.
Creature Commandos instead.
He was like, watch Captain America Civil War. I'm Crossbones.
I like the idea of Frank Grillo telling you to watch Netflix's Punisher.
I could have been him.
It could have, yeah.
Have you guys seen Squid Game? Bye. Thanks, Frank
2 out
Grillo.
now.
Wolfman stars Christopher Abbott and Julia Gardner from Ozark. If anybody remembers that, it's. I mean, look, it's.
And he was from Craven.
And he was from Craven. He was also Craven. It's just, the trailer pretty much gives away what it is. It's a family that goes out into the woods, and the
First mistake.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, exactly. And the father, who was, for anybody who saw the original Wolfman from the 1930s, starring Lon Chaney, he's supposed to be basically Abbott. Talbot, excuse me. He's supposed to play that character. It's a little different. Do
they use the same names?
They don't. They don't. But he's playing the same kind of character. It's in the original Wolfman. Lon Chaney's character went back to take care of family business. He was hit by a wolf, attacked by a wolf. Same thing in this. It's the same type of dynamic in this story. I thought they did a pretty good intro with the movie itself. He is being raised in the woods by his father, who is training. It's heavily implied he is a former Marine, and he's training him.
Go.
Yep, and he's training. Yeah.
Why don't you tell us about your time in the Army, Steve?
That's a Marine Corps, not
Thanks
the
for your
Army.
service.
That's a Marine. That's a whole different branch. Do you have any idea what you're talking about?
No, I don't.
But he's being trained as a survivalist in the woods, and they encounter.
So he brought his family?
Well, this is him as a kid.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. This is the main character as a kid. Yeah. Well, he eventually does bring his family though to the same area. And they encounter a wolfman, or wolf creature, whatever it is, and
Wolf person.
Wolf
It's 2025
person. Excuse me.
Stan.
Sorry about
Jesus.
that. And years pass, and then his father passes away, and he has to take his family out to the hunting cabin, whatever, out in the middle woods where he grew up. And same thing, a wolf attacks him, and the entire story is about him slowly transforming into this wolf man. There's also a small intro in the beginning of the movie that says that this is the Native Americans who were in the area originally saw it as a transformation themselves, and it was like a skinwalker type of exactly, who was cursed to walk the earth as this wolf creature. But
the Wendigo.
Yeah, but but unlike other Wolfman, like we were just talking about werewolves, the film with Frank Grillo, who was not Punisher, who's not Punisher. It apparently the movie implies that if you get scratched from this thing and you turn into a Wolfman, that's it. That's what you are for the rest of the time you're alive. There's no such thing as a full moon. There's no such thing as
I was about to ask that. Is there a full moon?
No, there's not a full moon at all.
No,
There's no such thing as killing you with a silver bullet or silver in general.
And you don't switch back.
You don't switch back. But that's what the movie implies. It's never shown. The creature that eventually traps them, the family, they have a daughter with them. They trap him in the house. It doesn't seem like it transforms back at all, while the main character is slowly transforming to a wolf himself.
So this is over a course of days?
Wolf. It's a course of a night. It takes place over one night.
So this is very important in werewolf movies. How was the transformation?
Yeah.
So I like that they use practical effects because they weren't doing a heavy makeup thing. I mean, you see talking about body horror earlier. We were talking, so his fingernails begin to fall off because his his hands are being like outstretched.
Yeah.
In terms of, like, because he's like slowly transforming into a wolf. His jaw pops open. It looks like it breaks and just like kind of snaps open at one point.
That's the thing. Transformations are painful.
Yeah,
like, there's no way your body can shift into another body and
right, exactly. But it's over a course of a couple hours. It doesn't happen immediately. So he slowly.
So it's not like Werewolf in London where it's like that one
yes.
instance.
Yeah,
it's just like a slow burn.
It's a course. Cool. Yeah, it's over a course of a night, and he's also beginning to lose his like mental facilities. And they do this really cool thing. They do the POV of the wolf itself. So at one point, he's turning on his family. He's slowly turning on his family, but he's trying not to because they're still a part of.
Right.
The main character's name is Blake Lovell. They're still part of Blake and within him, and he's like not trying to hurt his wife and his daughter. And they go into a barn, and Julia Garner's character is in there with her daughter, and they're in the dark, and she thinks that she knows he's in there, but she thinks that he can't see them.
Oh,
but
these women trying to change men.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
But he very clearly can, and he has this POV because he can see in the dark, and he can also see them. They do this thing where he can see their eyes, like their eyes are glowing, so he can see in the dark. So he's standing like a few feet in front of them. They don't. They know
when you shine a light into
exactly.
a cat's eyes or
They know that he's in there, but they can't see him. But he can very clearly see them. And then she actually set up a bear trap that catches him. And then he gnaws through his leg like a wolf will do. And then eventually he fights the other wolf that's stalking them. Finds out it's his father who has transformed somehow because he went out to hunt this creature in the woods and has been gone for many months.
Generational familial trauma.
Exactly. And. Then they finally see that he has a Marine Corps tattoo on his arm, which is
here we go.
Yeah, which matches his father. So,
stolen valor.
Stolen valor.
So yeah.
Well, could it have been like a gene? Like his father never hunted a wolf. It was just in their gene pool. And
no, so like in the beginning of the film, his father and a young Blake are hunted by a different wolfman creature. But it's during the day. That's the other thing. Yeah. Okay. So again, it's implied that they never turn back into a human form again. Yeah. And at some point, he either killed this thing or it wounded him somehow.
Right. It would be nuts. I mean, think about it logistically. It would be nuts to transform into a creature and then be able to go back.
Right.
Like, think of it like we're so used to transformation stories having you return to your form or whatever. Yeah. But like physically, if you transformed into a different shape, you could not return back into that.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And of course, we have like, the typical hairs coming at him. He's becoming more hairy. His face is becoming more elongated like a wolf's. So it's that kind of thing. So the film implies that once you turn, you never turn back. And he eventually kills the other wolf creature, which we find out is his father. But what I found interesting about the movie is that aside from one of the original characters that's with them, who kind of guides him to the wood cabin, he's killed off by Blake's father. Both the creature that's stalking them, that kind of traps him inside this farmhouse, is never actually really trying to hurt them. You think he is because he's outside menacing them. He grabs at Blake's leg through like a doggy door at one point, tries to pull him through. But when he eventually gets into the house, he doesn't actually. There's a point where he can kill Julie Gardner's character easily, but he kind of refrains from it. So he's trying to like take his son back.
Oh, he's trying to like claim his family.
Exactly, like trying to take his son, like go into the woods, but he doesn't hurt his daughter or his granddaughter. I mean, his daughter-in-law or his granddaughter.
So is there like an overall theme to be learned from this?
Unfortunately, that's the problem with the movie. It's just kind of like it's kind of like a cat and mouse game the entire time. It's just there's really
not like an overarching sort of lesson about like
not stay out of the woods, I guess. Yeah, I mean that's about it.
He doesn't make a Grillo type sacrifice at the end.
No, so at the end he just
Punisher season 2 now.
Yeah, exactly. There is a callback to the start of the film where Blake, as a kid, and his father are up in this tree blind, and the wolf creature is or deer blind, and the wolf man is coming up the stairs, and his father doesn't shoot. You don't actually see it, but you see his breath over the door, and then he hears something in the woods, and the wolf man takes off. at the end of the film, now Julia Garner's up there with her daughter, and Blake is coming up the stairs. Now it seems that he's like lost his mind entirely. He's now like a wolf creature, and he does have his family in his sights, but it seems like he understands that he can't live like this, so he lunges at her, and she has a rifle. She shoots him, and that's how he dies.
Okay.
So it seems like he commits like kind of suicide by cop and quote unquote.
Yeah,
So
Chad, what are your thoughts on assisted suicide?
I think,
Okay, to our next topic.
yeah, much lighter topic.
Well, is it a horror movie? Or is
It's more of a thriller.
Thriller?
It's more of a thriller. Yeah, it has horror elements, but I mean, overall, it is what it is. It doesn't, like you said, there's no overall lesson. It's just kind of this family being tormented by this wolf creature that is their family. And it doesn't seem, during the film, it does seem like they're in some type of danger, but at the end, you see like, well, they really weren't towards.
You
overall,
feel like there would be a
weren't.
lesson because, like, if you were just going to remake a Wolfman story, it's easy to follow the tropes and themes of the original.
Right.
But it feels like this is going for a completely new take on it. So I'm just I haven't seen it, but I mean, I'm very curious, like, what they meant to convey with telling the story with this different...
I mean, like, it's probably just, you don't have to do everything with your family. You can, go by yourself sometimes.
Yeah, I mean...
You could have left them home.
At the beginning of there is...
It's like going to the grocery store. They could be home.
They could be.
Well, actually, it's funny you brought that up, Chet, because there is an underlying story between Christopher Abbott's character and Julia Garner's character that, they're a married couple, they have a daughter, but it seems like their marriage is kind of in trouble. And Julia Garner isn't as close to her daughter as she is with her father. So that's why he's like, why don't we take a break, go clean out my father's cabin.
Right.
And
rebuild a family.
We can spend some time as a family.
How'd that work out?
Yeah, exactly. How did that work out? And then their father-in-law.
Maybe if you got chores, do them your fucking self.
Right.
How about that?
Well, there's a moment in the trailer where I'm a little confused about. Maybe I missaw. When their car gets attacked and crashed, and the door falls off, and the one girl falls down.
No, so that was the other character. That was a guy who lived in like the next homestead over.
Oh, so yeah, like no
they end up they're in a U-Haul container because they're gonna go clean out their father's cabin, his father's cabin, and they just happen to run him in the woods. And he's like, "No, I know where your father's property is. I'll take you."
I wondered about that too because they kind of show that death and the trailer,
and I was like, "Oh, who was that?"
And they don't really deal.
I thought that was a woman
after?
too for some reason.
Yeah.
Oh. But no, it's a guy. So
that was a sister. Or
they're
something.
in a U-Haul, and then as they're driving through this like wooded road, like out up in the mountains, he runs and he sees the wolf, his father, who turns out to be his father, the wolf creature in the road, and he swerves to miss him, and he goes off into the wood, and then that's how they end up upside down in the trees.
Just hit him.
Exactly. And but it's weird because the guy who ends up getting taken in the trailer, he grew up in those mountains, and he's been up there the entire time. So he's kind of like this weird, kind of like creepy guy in the van with them, and he's like, "Yeah, you shouldn't be out here at night. It's very dangerous, Because like kind of implying like he knows about the wolf man.
Right.
But then when they have an accident, he just immediately tries to get away and gets taken by this thing. So I don't know. It was
That'd be cool with the dad, getting shot at the end, and it kind of goes to black, and then it just leads to a sequel of he regained his mental facility, but he still looks like a wolf. So it's Wolf Dad.
Wolf Dad.
It's like Ghost Dad.
And he gets a sitcom. I could see it as an 80s sitcom.
Yeah.
He's like shows up with his briefcase and a suit as a wolf. Yeah. I mean,
Wolf Dad, get in my office. You chased 3 cars this week.
Was there any howling in the movie?
There was
really?
Not
my
really.
God!
I mean, there's more like it's more like grunting than howl. Yeah.
Well,
but I mean, that's
physically
a
they don't really look very wolf-like from the pictures I've seen of the transformation.
Lon Chaney's Wolfman looks more wolf.
Yeah.
Than this. Here they're just more like very like hairy humans.
Yeah.
Like Neanderthals.
Yeah,
almost.
that's what it looked like. It was like they kind of like rat people.
Yeah. Now they do the elongated limb thing that we've seen before. Like I said, his nails pop off as his hands kind of grow. His jaw breaks up, kind of breaks apart, but it's just kind of growing bigger.
Yeah.
Puberty.
So exactly. Yeah. So the transformation is okay.
See, I still like the Benicio del Toro Wolfman movie that was made.
Yeah, that was okay. When
was that, 2006?
10, I think.
Yeah.
It was okay.
I worked in the movie theater for that one.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I never saw it, but people always say watch the director version.
I've heard that's better too.
And I want to see
good.
that.
It's really good. And that was Rick Baker again doing all the practical effects for that. And
I mean, this one, it's it's okay. There's a part where there's a lot of stuff that kind of doesn't work in this film because he's like a survivalist. His father, his cabin is like a survivalist kind of compound.
Yeah,
he has like a greenhouse, but it's not like one of those with glass. It's just this one like has a tarp over it. With like metal frames.
Yeah,
it's like a white tarp.
Yeah,
and they get up there at one point to like get away from the Wolfman, and he's like in the greenhouse, like kind of like jumping and kind of slashing at him. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, this thing isn't like 20 feet tall. It's probably like maybe 10 feet.
Yeah,
and this thing is supposed to be like an expert hunter that can take down deer and all this kind of shit. And he can't like get to. But again, then like. At the end of the film, you find out...
That's the Marines for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Navy for life, baby.
The few, the proud, the hairy.
At the end, you find out that maybe they weren't in danger the entire time at all because like it was their father and their father-in-law and the grandfather of the daughter who was just kind of like trying to get to a son.
Right.
So it's like the entire time, you're like, oh, so at the end of the film, you find out who he is. You're like, oh, so they weren't in danger the entire time? And like and that makes sense why he was kind of like toying with them. But then it takes away from like the overall like suspense of the film. It's just so they weren't in any kind of danger, I suppose. I don't know. It was. I think it would have been more compelling if this thing killed his father, and then you see
It's got the
and then
solve.
and then he went in there to try and figure out what happened to his father, and it is the original Wolfman they ran into when he was a kid. And his father died fighting it or something. I don't know why they decided to go with the father-son dynamic.
Well, because that's also in the
original, exactly, yeah. But again, you realize that they were never in any kind of real danger.
Yeah.
Because there's plenty of times in the film when the Wolfman is in the house facing off with Judah Gardner, and she has like a fire poker, and like at one point he's attacking his son. And Judah Gardner comes up with a fire poker and hits him in the back. And he turns around and was like, kind of looks at her like, what the fuck are you doing? And then kind of like knocks the poker out of her hand and then turns back to what he's doing. And so when I was watching, I was like, what the hell? Why don't you just tear her throat out? Oh, no, it's because it's her father-in-law. So it also implies that they have some type of mental facility left.
Right.
And
I think it's...
So I don't know.
If anything from this movie, how you were describing it, I think the lesson is probably don't... Just because... your elders are different or have different ways of living. Don't shut them out. Don't keep them outside. Bring them back into your life.
Yeah.
They're not here to hurt you. They want to love you.
That's it.
That's it.
That's the Hallmark movie we didn't know we needed.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's all about family, Dan. Family.
I have nothing to say to that.
So Wolfman,
clown shoes thing I've ever heard you say.
I give it a B-. They're using practical effects, so again, any movie that use practical effects is.
It sounds like there's only 5 cast members.
There's like 5 or 6. Yeah,
well,
you guys saw The Substance, right?
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
you guys talked about The Substance.
Yeah,
we did.
Yeah, we did.
I was gonna say I listened to the show, so
yeah.
Clearly,
I forget when I chime in and when I'm listening in my car and be like, no, that's wrong.
Well, did you ever thought of The Substance?
Yeah,
no, just with all the practical effects talk that you guys were doing, like it's just.
And you saw The Substance, right?
I did. I saw it when it came back to theaters, so I saw it super late.
So what'd you think?
So I actually heard your episode before I saw the movie. Your opinions are all wrong.
I do the segues here, by the way. But go ahead. How's The Substance?
Well, your opinions are all wrong, and I thought it was great. I thought it was fun. I didn't think it would be as fun as it was.
Yeah, just Cronenberg-esque kind of random fun stuff.
Yeah. I enjoy. Yeah,
I love practical effects. Coming back
me too, man.
It's like we can cut this part out if we have to.
We will.
Yeah, we can cut this part out if we have to.
Now I'm worried that you're saying this before you say it. But
we're definitely cutting all the Sonic 3
Yeah,
shit.
what time are we at? Okay. So it's the weird thing that resonated with me with The Substance, and this is me just telling my friends, we can cut this out, seriously.
Okay, yeah.
We're
going to bleep over what you're saying right now.
So I used to have problems with addiction, right? And the thing with The Substance was respect the balance. And it was like, when you have this thing, you're not you for a little bit. And you're this better version of you. But you have to come back to the real you. And you can't live with this other version forever.
It's really interesting.
It's not doable. It's not part of it. So you have to respect the balance. And as an addict, you don't respect the balance. So you're always taking away from tomorrow's version of yourself for more of that version of you today that you like. And it was funny that this movie about this like this monstrosity thing and like this, you know what the substance is about. Yeah. So it's funny that movie resonated to me on that level more than it did about the actual like beauty standards of like, you know, it's weird like that it.
That's great though. That's a really
that is a good point. That's a good way of looking at it.
Because like no one really talks about that aspect of it, but like but when they kept talking about like, oh, there's this miracle thing, and if you do this, you're not yourself for a little bit, but you are taking away from your true self, and you'll feel worse for it the next time you're you. And it's like you have to respect the balance, which is like moderation, basically. And it's just that's stuck with me since I saw it, and since I haven't had time to talk with that to my therapist, I thought I'd tell you guys.
That's great.
Well, hey, that'll be $55.
Yeah. 55 cheap. No, take it.
Yeah, we don't take insurance though.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, Wolfman, recommend B-. And then if you want to catch Substance again, I highly recommend that. I'm so glad it's gotten nominated for some stuff.
Oh yeah,
no, it does.
I think we should at some point have Justin back on and talk.
Yeah, definitely.
Oscars again.
He's so attractive.
He is.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter about anything.
You want to know how we'll know if you listen to this episode?
Exactly.
You'll hear about it.
We'll definitely hear about it. And then Chad and I went to go check out The Prosecutor.
Yes.
Which is a Donnie Yen film, straight from Hong Kong.
Straight from Hong
Kong. He plays a former cop who turned in Hong Kong, who becomes a prosecutor in the Chinese criminal justice system because he became a little disillusioned with a case he was on as a cop. So he's like, I'm going to do right. I'm going to go into the other side of law enforcement, of the criminal justice system, and I'm going to become a prosecutor and help put these criminals away. And so it's an interesting blend because I hadn't heard about this movie until Chad brought it up to me, and we went to go see it in Monterey, which is I guess it's a heavily Chinese community. Yeah. So that's why they show a lot of films from China in the AMC there. So we go check it out, and we didn't really know what to expect. We knew it was Donnie Yen, so there's going to be some action stuff in it, and it was pleasantly surprising, this film, because we thought it was going to be mostly, you have this
John Wick in a courtroom.
You have this idea of what Donnie Yen what Donnie Yen movies are, which is heavy action, and not a whole lot of other substance besides that, but it's actually a blend of Chinese criminal justice system courtroom drama mixed with action film. It's pretty interesting, right, Chad?
No, definitely. The I looked it up as well because at the beginning of the movie it said based upon a true story.
Yeah,
and it's very minimal of what the actual true story is. A kid was arrested for receiving a package that had drugs in it, and that was it. That's mainly the case. And then I guess they just expanded upon it and made it into this movie that it's very it was surprisingly heartfelt. Had
a lot of substance. Yeah.
There was but there was moments. So I mean, it has typical moments of an action movie where it's like, oh, they have this crime bust. It goes wrong. There's one thing that could be turned against them in the courtroom, and the criminal goes free.
Yeah.
And Donnie Yen, I forget how old he is now, but obviously he's still able to move incredibly well.
He's 61.
He's around Keanu's age, maybe a little.
So
older.
It's surprising that his character took a turn to be like, I'm taking a step away from the action, and I'm going to go in the courtroom. I want to be this final door to lock people up, this final gateway to, approving justice, making justice happen.
So the plot is there's a drug ring within Hong Kong that uses people who are just regular working class people who have nothing to do with their criminal organization. They'll ship them drugs, and if they get caught, which sometimes they'll do, so people will rent out their addresses for extra money. So like, send me a package
like
here.
Muling.
Yeah, they're pretty much drug mules without actually carrying any kind of
just for
narcotics.
pickups and
So somebody will come to their door, give them $50, whatever it is, $100, pick up the package, start have a nice day.
Yeah.
But if they get caught, they have a corrupt law firm that takes up their case. This is a very high paid law firm that'll pick up their case. Because these people have no money, because I guess in Hong Kong you don't really necessarily get the type of public defenders that we would do. Even though, given a year, public defenders are kind of swamped, so it's not the best. So they'll have this law firm that comes to them and says, "Hey, just plead out." Just because they have plea deals in Hong Kong as well. Take the deal. It's 2-3 years, no big deal. 5 years, whatever. It's no big deal. So and they do that to kind of bury any kind of
and their clients stay
exactly.
Safe.
So then they won't go to court and say, well, this person shipped me drugs, and then of course exposes their clients.
Is their judicial system over there similar enough where you guys could keep following them?
It seems familiar. It seems more in line with the British system because they wear robes and they were the powdered wigs. That like the British system does.
I would have actually never guessed that.
Yeah, well, Hong Kong was part of the British Empire for a long time. It just recently gained independendence in the 90s.
Oh, here we go.
So they still have that British type of system, but there are plea deals like we have here in the United States. There is a certain, system of evidence handling that we have here. But anyhow, there is a kid who lives with his grandfather who kind of had a hard life. His grandfather brought him up. His mother's a drug addict, or his parents are drug addicts. His grandfather brought him up. They live in this kind of very small,
tenement type.
It's kind of like a hovel.
Yeah.
And kind of like a slum. And he gets caught with these drugs. The police, and somehow they find out that he has a package of cocaine on him. And he agrees to take the plea deal. And the judge turns around and sentences him to 27 years. And even Donnie Yen, who's the prosecutor, is like, what?
Well, no, it was first, it was like 5 years.
5, right, yeah.
And then
the plea deal was for 5.
Yeah, the plea deal was 5, but he didn't get the 27 until they brought it back to court because Donnie Yen thought there was something suspicious going on with how the court proceciding went.
So he tried to do an appeal or something.
But the thing is, he's the prosecutor, so he's he
should have just taken the deal and
he shouldn't have moved on
case.
because that's not his job. He's here to prosecute.
Even the defense is like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, it was like, "This is our job."
So, and even the judge is like, "What? You're the prosecutor. Why are you standing? Why is this such a big deal for you? This is a win for you. Just let it go." But it doesn't sit well that somehow that this kid, how did this kid get these drugs? And now they're hitting him up with these ridiculous 27 years. So he begins to kind of dig himself, and as the story goes along, we see that it's this massive drug empire that's been shipping drugs to all these different
Brazil,
people. And it leads back to the lawyers, and there are action scenes within it. Eventually, to prove this kid innocent, Donnie Yen is working with his grandfather, who was murdered by the drug ring. Because he thinks that they're getting too close to what the truth is. And eventually there's a star witness who will testify to this drug ring that he knows exists. And there's he has to get from the courthouse or from the jail to the courthouse. And the drug ring is trying to do everything they can to stop this star witness from getting to trial. And it's a crazy, because most of the film is them in the courtroom. Just kind
where
of
they're out,
investigating.
Investigating. There's maybe like 2 to 3 other action sequences before that were really great. By the way, regardless, but this was like the finale, fight sequence and stuff, and just
better courtroom drama. This or Joker 2?
Definitely
surprisingly.
And then eventually they get on a subway, and it's Donnie Yen just trying to get this kid to testify in court because they have a certain deadline they have to meet. It's like like if this guy doesn't show up this day, that's it. This kid's getting sentenced, and that's it. There's no more ifs, ands, or buts about it. And there's a crazy subway fight where Donnie Yen takes on this massive dude who the entire film he's been kind of in the background. It's like who's this guy? And when he shows up on the subway, Chad and I are like, here we go.
Shit.
Here we go, like kind of like rubbing our hands together like,
it's happening.
And it does not disappoint at all. Donnie Yen and this guy go at it, and they tear the subway up. It was great.
Yeah, the choreography, awesome. Just Donnie Yen, who directed this one,
Yeah.
and
Really?
he does the choreography usually in most of his films.
Yeah.
And they just knock it out of the park here.
Nice.
And it's like there's some scenes that are some like CG in background, but it's not as visible as you're watching the action and stuff like that. It's still awesome to see. And I almost forgot the camera work was fucking awesome.
So good, dude.
With there was like a couple drone shots of like he's in a parking structure and he jumps out and runs along the wall and then jumps down to tackle the guy trying to escape on the floor below. And like the camera just follows him through that way.
And Chad and I were like, "Was you think that was really Donnie Yen? Because he does a lot of his own stuff." It's like, he's 61. I don't know.
I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It might have been a little bit of mixture of both.
Yeah.
But and then there was another shot of the beginning like SWAT bust where the SWAT team has a shield and a firearm gun. And Donnie Yen like picks up the shield and he's got his handgun, and it goes into like first person like Doom, and it's pretty badass how it just goes on, and then it switches back into first person. It was really interesting. So,
it was funny because like the opening scene is he's still a cop, and they do a raid on this gang. And it's just like, it's so Hong Kong action. Yeah, and I was like,
it's like the raid.
It's like the raid. And I was like, that's what this film was going to be. And then no, it just completely switches gears.
Yeah.
And it's just a crime trial drama.
It could be really schlocky. You could have
exactly,
done a real
it could have been absolutely.
film.
And I thought that's what this movie was going to be. It's like, okay, whatever, I'm here for it because I love Hong Kong action films. But it turns into this court drama where it's just him in court investigating, a little bit of action, and then it's him back to investigating.
Yeah.
And eventually the final battle is just great. And then once the movie's over, I turned to Shannon. I was like, I could totally see this being Americanized.
Oh, remake.
Like this there'll be an American remake to this. The Prosecutor starting Ben Affleck. Where same thing. A kid gets caught up and he's like,
no, it'd be it's got to be Statham.
Statham, here you go. Yeah,
another job.
Yeah.
You almost feel like he wanted to just make a courtroom thing, and they were like, "No, we're not funding this." And they were like, "I'll do a fight scene." You have to throw
one kick.
Yeah.
Well, I actually reading into it, apparently originally Donnie Yen was hesitant to do it because he wasn't like, this is not sort of the movie
he's comfortable with.
Right.
He's done before, and he was like, I guess, and then he kind of fell into it, and he's like, yeah, all right.
But it's also it's funny. There's a lot of funny parts in it. There's like the quips that throw each other is really good. At one point, he's working with his boss, who's like, like the state prosecutor or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And the state prosecutor is like comes to his house. It's like, what the hell are you doing? Like, just put this case through and get it done. And as we find out, Donnie Yen has like an older mentor who is like, we only see him for one scene, but he kind of steals it because he's just saying the law is the law, and you have to follow it whether it's right or wrong. And if you feel that there's something not right, you have to try and do the right thing, even if you are working for the state to prosecute. Yeah. So, and the actor who plays him does a great job. And so he's talking to his boss, and he tells his boss, like, well, you know what, you get out of here, go home and jack off, he says. Yeah. And that's when he takes off. He's like, where are you going? Okay, let's go.
Like, you want to go?
And so they start fighting in the courtroom, and finally,
like, you're going to go with me?
Yeah. And so they fight for a little bit. It's nothing serious.
It's a little tussle.
Yeah, it's a little tussle. But then he's like, okay, fine. I do what you have to do. I get it.
Yep.
So it's funny. There's a lot of like you really root for the grandfather who, like, this kid, that's all he has, and his grandfather, his grandson is all he has. And then when he ends up being killed by the gang, you're like, oh shit, like it's pretty emotional because he's having a meeting with Donnie Yen about the case, and like I think we can probably get him out. See, don't worry, I'm not going to give up on him. He goes to the bathroom.
Hope was right around the corner for him.
He comes back and he's been stabbed to death by somebody, and as it turns out, it's the guy he fights in the end. So it's a great film, man. I really like it, and I also said to Chad, I could see this being like a film series starting to Prosecutor 1, 2, 3, you know, and there's different cases.
Prosecution.
Yeah, exactly. And again, being Americanized for sure. I think it'll be an American remake.
We'll see in 2027 when Jason Statham.
They could also bring Donnie Yen over because he's done American films as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's
true.
The
guy that was in 300, Gerard Butler.
Oh, Gerard Butler. There you go. Gerard Butler.
Actually, that would be a great one.
That would be good. Yeah, that would be great. But
Prosecution rests.
Yeah, exactly.
As he shoots somebody. Yeah. But yeah, I highly recommend it. It's great. I think it's a great film, and I'm glad we got to go see it.
No, yeah, man. Also, while we were there, we saw a bunch of trailers before the movie. And
right.
There was this one that I think it's like Creation of the Gods 3, and it was the most like bombastic. Like, obviously it's going into the lore of a lot of ancient China lore and stuff with, but it looked entertaining as hell. Like the CG.
I've seen those movies before. Yeah, so they'll take like Chinese legends and lore and history, and they'll blend them into this thing, and it looks like the Avengers. And I've seen these films
first
before.
two and see if they're any.
Yeah,
good.
no, I want.
We gotta do a watch through now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because like the
That's
Monkey
your next
King.
episode.
There was they made a one before. There's many Monkey King movies, but one was starring Donnie Yen himself.
It's
as
kind of like
Monkey King,
it's kind of like the
It was like who's based on Goku is based on the Monkey King, Son Goku.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I remember back in the 80s, 90s, there was a Monkey King TV show.
Oh.
And I watched it. It was like Hercules and Xena style kind of
really?
show. Yeah. I used to watch it on British television.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Oh, here he goes.
Oh, the Brits are ahead of the game.
Well, I'm just saying.
South Korea does that too. They do a lot of like South Korean lore with these huge CGI backgrounds, and but yeah, they look fun. And then Chad recently watched Den of Thieves too.
Yes.
Oh, you just
Speaking of
Prosecutor.
Speaking of Jerry Butler.
Yes. It was very like you guys haven't seen the first one, Den of Thieves?
No.
I have.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Okay.
really
very
good.
different from the first one.
Yeah, it's like a heist film, right?
Yeah, it's
the first one is a heist film.
Well, but the thing is, like, you have a cat and mouse in the first one,
right?
Because they're not on the same team.
Yeah.
And like this one, he kind of joins Ice Cube's son. I always forget his name. It's like O'Shea Jackson.
Yeah,
that's his name.
O'Shea Jackson Jr.
Yeah, and like Gerard Butler has his moment because like the first one, there was like lots of funny moments between him and the bad guy because he would like egg him on, be like, "Hey, I banged your girlfriend," and just like
right.
most random stuff. And he just wasn't that character because it starts out with him finalizing his divorce with his wife, and he's like, "Bah," and then he's like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna just finish off this case with chasing because O'Shea Jackson escaped at the end of the first one.
Yeah.
So and he's in Europe pulling off like more heists.
And he actually like he in that first film he's like this kind of he's supposed to be like an American kid.
Just hanging around.
But it actually turns out he's British.
Yeah. Which is weird because like this one he's putting on sort of another type of accent. I forget what I want to say it's some African or like Middle Eastern accent. I forget what it is exactly, but he's pretending to be obviously another character under a different name.
Yeah.
And he's helping these people.
Different persona.
Yeah, and I thought this heist. There were parts of the heist where it felt like it was going to be like a Inside Man type of thing, like they were stealing a certain thing out of a box,
right?
And but no, it was kind of very straightforward. But initially, one of the first robberies that O'Shea Jackson did in the film, they unknowingly stole diamonds from the mob, the Italian mob. And so while he's in France on this new gig and Gerard Butler gets in the way, the Italian mob shows up and tries to be like, "Hey, you took something from Mars, get it back or we're going to kill you both,"
right?
And stuff. And yeah, so there was interesting moments. The best part that got me kind of like pumped was you see it in the trailer, the shootout from the cars in the tunnels of the hillside, and that was really cool and stuff. But there was nothing really that stood out too much in this film. So I feel like they kind of lacked a lot on. I don't know. I think they needed that cat. They needed someone chasing them, really,
like a wolf man.
Yeah, like a wolf man. Yeah,
that would have been interesting.
If they, a crossover needed that, or just Nosferatu's hand going over the
across,
city.
yeah.
Or Chad's Dawn hovering.
I mean, there you go. Hey,
I'd watch that film.
We'll pitch that for Den of Thieves. Chad's
Dongle.
Dongle. Dongle Casino.
The Dong of Thieves.
Dong of Thieves.
Dong of Thieves.
No, well, that's something else. But no, but everyone did great in it. It's it's not terrible. It's just like the first movie had such a different vibe that I wanted more of that, and I didn't get that, so I was a little disappointed. But I'd say it's still worth a watch.
Is it better than the first one?
In my head, no.
Yeah.
Because I wanted the obnoxious character of Gerard Butler to come. Here he was kind of humbled and pulled back.
Well, he wasn't as cocky as the first one.
He was just like...
Well, makes sense because he's been humbled.
Well, yeah, that true, but he becomes very close with him, and and I don't know. Are you planning? You're planning to see the movie?
I was interested, but I haven't watched it yet.
Well, like pretty much, like while he's undercover, he's proving that he's I'm doing this for real. But it turns out
is he still a cop or because
we were you're not sure the whole time.
Oh, okay, because I was under the impression that he left.
You think he goes over there first and talks to the local police about like, hey, what's going on, and then he finds Osage and joins their team, and it looks like he's doing this without the cops.
He's in a different country. Yeah, he's in a different. He's in that jurisdiction.
But like the way he like left them, he was like, "Oh no, I don't see him on the camera," and then it cuts to him like going to find him. So it's like, "Oh, he's gonna do this on his own."
Okay.
But then it turns out at the end he was on it with the cops, the local, because they show up at the end to arrest them all after they like pull off the heist. So that's why I was like, "Oh, this is kind of flat for me here. I don't know."
Huh.
But I just don't. I would hope the third one it becomes more cat and mouse again, because like this one was kind of just like there's no close calls here too much. So I don't know. Yeah, I'd say check it out, but the first one is the better.
Do you recommend it?
I recommend it. It's still worth it. I support Gerard Butler because I like his films. Yeah. I like Citizen.
Kane.
Abiding Citizen. That was underrated.
Law-abiding citizen.
Law-abiding citizen, and I enjoyed the ones where he protects the president.
Olympus Has Fallen.
Yeah. No, that's the Channing Tatum one.
Oh right.
Right. Am I wrong on that?
I thought so.
He's
like White House Down or something like that.
Oh no, sorry. White House Down is Channing Tatum. You're right. Olympus Has Fallen.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
I said Black Hawk Down. I was actually close.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the London one, and I never did see the third one, but I do.
Well, we have
a third one.
I mean, we have
there was
a special connection, of course, with Jerry Butler. Is that one of our first movies we reviewed was Plane.
Oh yeah,
that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yes.
So that was like I think episode 1 or 2.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh no, I never listened.
I know.
Wow.
Man.
Thanks, Dan.
So
It's
like a special place in our heart, and it's like I feel like every movie he's got to play a divorced dad.
Yeah, so
or divorce. So he's got to go through.
He played such a prick in the first one, dude.
Yes, so good though.
I fucking hated his character in the first one.
Yeah, like that's the thing. It's like I'm rooting for the criminals. In that first one, but then I'm also rooting for them because at some points, and it's fun that you get to choose.
Is that the movie where he shoots a guy and like the cop's like, it's all right, you got the aura all around you or something like that? Is that the one? I think that's it. No. Final shootout.
I forget. They're like in the street, and all the cars are like on the highway, and they're like shooting through the windows.
Yeah. They're just telling people to get down.
Yeah.
I was like, oh jeez, how many civilians died that day? Yeah. They're having a gun battle in like this traffic jam.
Yeah. No, and I loved it because like Lethal Weapon, they had their shootout in the traffic jam.
That's right.
So it's like I always like that kind of like you don't get to control the area that you're in.
That's true.
And I don't know. I didn't get that intensity until that scene in the second one when the car chase was happening.
Okay.
And like some like there was elements of Ronin in the second one. There was elements of that.
It seems to me like they're trying to do a Fast and Furious thing because like the first one is much more grounded, and the second one is where I know it's not until like the third and fourth it just begins to take off all crazy.
Yeah, well, but I would say
the second one was definitely like okay.
I would say this one is pretty grounded actually. Other than like parts of the main heist, I would say it's pretty grounded. Like, maybe there's some elements of that heist that are real because there's like a technology they use this like kind of fold out shield that reflects the light on the camera, so it just looks like nothing's in the hallway, like, and they're moving with it. So I mean, like that's
definitely Fast and Furious, yeah.
Well, no, but I'm saying like
I think he stole that from Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible, yeah, with the
and like that's the only outlandish thing there, really. I would say,
okay,
and like the rest is all just regular,
So you recommend this?
Yeah, I'd say it's worth seeing.
Then they get caught, and then Donnie Yen has to be the prosecutor for them.
There you go.
Yeah,
that's it.
But yeah, like there wasn't a lot of personal stuff in between the other parts of the gang members. That's why I was like, I didn't really get any kind of other vibe there from from Ronin that you would see from Robert De Niro and Sean Bean and all that stuff. So
okay,
yeah. So I'd say check it out.
All right.
Cool.
Yeah, cool.
Den of Thieves 2.
Yeah.
Pantera.
On
Pantera.
Netflix. Coming out.
Coming out soon.
Coming
Frank
out soon.
Grillo.
I recently watched Presence, which is the new
That's right.
supernatural thriller from Steven Soderbergh. I watched that today.
I love his musicals.
But yeah, his musicals are great. Yeah. It's an interesting take on horror films, and I'm sure you guys have seen the trailers where people are kind of are praising it, saying, "Oh, what an interesting." It's a different look at horror films. It's POV from the ghost's view, which is interesting. Which I didn't.
So hot.
Yeah, I know, right? It watches the family as they go about their daily lives. Imagine that.
Like a voyeur.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it's almost like it's
a hardcore Henry for ghosts.
like the well, no, like if you see the movie Ghost, where it just stays in one place, this one actually follows them around in the house.
In the house, yeah. In Ghost, it only stays in one place in the house.
Yeah,
I never watched it.
Like
it's in the sheet. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just.
That's
It doesn't.
I
move.
love that movie.
I heard
like-
it's fucking sad as shit. That's why I haven't watched it.
I mean, yeah, it's sort of the same dynamic. What's the one with Tom Hanks that came out recently?
Yeah,
where the camera's in one spot
here
the whole time.
The Terminal.
Here. So I'm like, it's sort
Man
of
with
in the
one red
same
shoe.
vein of those two, except the ghost can move and
So it only in Ghost. I mean, in that movie, it only stays in one spot.
Yeah, it doesn't,
interesting.
leave, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no. In this,
Spoiler for
they made
Ghost.
this was an interesting perspective because the ghost moves can only move through the house.
Oh, okay.
It can't go outside. So anytime a character's outside the house,
rules.
yeah. Anytime a character's outside the house, you can hear them speaking. But it's like if somebody's looking through the window.
Yeah.
So just imagine somebody moving around inside a house, but obviously nobody can see them.
Yeah.
And so it starts Lucy Liu as and Chris Sullivan, who was in Stranger Things. He was in This Is Us, I think. And they played parents to Chloe and Tyler, who were teenagers in high school. And they look like the all-American family. They move into this new home. It starts off with a ghost walking through this empty house, and this family moves in. And then you slowly begin to see that there's issues with this family. So Lucy Liu they don't really explain it in the end, but she does some kind of work where she's possibly doing something illegal because her husband, who is played by Chris Sullivan, his name is Chris as well in the movie. You see him talking outside the home on a cell phone to one of his friends, asking, so if his spouse is involved in some type of criminal activity, how's the other spouse exposed? And you don't really understand what she's doing. He does kind of confront her at some point. I can help you through this. We're in this together. But the movie never explains what's going on.
Turns out the ghost is undercover the whole time.
Right, yeah. Mostly the
He's
film.
a Hong Kong prosecutor that doesn't play by the rules.
Donnie Yen is a ghost.
Yeah. But mostly the film concentrates, and the ghost concentrates on Chloe and Tyler, the brother and sister, who were kind of going through, teenage angst. Chloe recently lost two friends. It's implied that they died of a drug overdose. And so she's kind of dealing with this loss from one of her friends. She begins to feel some type of presence in the house. And the entire film, it's just somebody walking through the house with a camera. And that's what you see with this ghost. So the ghost the presence, they say, begins to focus on her. And he kind of becomes protective of her. At one point, her brother brings a friend over. And the presence kind of focuses on him, kind of doesn't like him, and then shuts the door. And it's implied it's a poltergeist. It sometimes it does things, sometimes it doesn't. The most it can do is move objects around and kind of shake things. At one point, Chloe has her school books out on her bed, and the ghost, you see him pick it up. Again, there's nobody there. It's just the books are moving on their own. Puts them away for her. She gets kind of scared. She begins to believe it's the ghost of her dead friend. Though. Yeah, she begins to think it's the ghost of her dead friend who is looking over her, and she even begins to ask if that's her. Eventually, they get a medium in, who not really a medium, but it's just this person they know who is sensitive, and that's the first time that the actor looks directly at the camera, which is the presence. So it's pretty interesting how they do that. And she says there is something here. It doesn't know what it's supposed to be doing here. Space and time aren't the same for them. And it can't leave until it accomplishes this mission, but it doesn't know what it is, and it is in pain. So you begin to think she says something happened to it probably in this house. And there's something going on. Something will happen. I saw it in a dream with a window that doesn't open. And that's all she says. You begin to see that Chloe begins to date her brother's friend. And at some point while she's in the shower, they just kind of finish messing around. He puts like either like a roofie, like some type of like powder into her drink. And the ghost sees it and shakes the table as she's about to drink it, so it falls over. And he's like, "Oh wow, what was that?" So you think she doesn't say it's her friend that's doing that.
Right.
As they're about to mess around, her closet shakes and all the shelves and everything fall off. They think it's her boyfriend at the time thinks it's a faulty drywall. So little by little they begin to again show that there's something not quite right. The family, the brother seems to be kind of be like he's like a jock, and he's also kind of like an asshole who plays this pretty mean trick.
It's kind of like Chad.
Yeah, who plays this kind of mean trick on one of his schoolmates, and Lucy Liu and him have like this really close relationship, where she's like, "Oh, from the moment I knew I was pregnant with you, I knew you were special, and I love you, and you're my son." And while he's explaining this terrible trick that he played on one of his schoolmates, she's like laughing about it, like, "Oh my God, you guys are so mean. Haha, it's so funny." While his father's like, "That's kind of fucked up." His father and his sister are like, "It's kind of fucked up." Like, and what do you mean? Like you took a picture of her and then like sent it around to everybody, and then she pulls it up on her phone, like, "Here it is." And her father's like, "What's the matter with you, dude? Like, you're a better person than this. What's going on?" And the death of Chloe's friend is beginning to seriously affect her. So they kind of get into a fight over family dinner at one point. He's like, "You know what? Like, whatever happened to you, don't bring that shit to me. Like, this was you last year. You're not gonna fuck me over at this school. Fuck off." Oh, she's like, "I hate you. I can't believe you'd be saying that." His father's like reprimanding him, and Lucy Liu's kind of, because she has like more of a reverence for her son than she does her daughter's, kind of on his side. So there's this whole family dynamic, and the entire time the ghost is the presence just kind of following them around.
Do we figure out what the presence is?
So I'm getting that. So eventually, her Chloe's boyfriend roofies. He comes. The two.
Jeez.
With this again?
Yeah, I know. And you clearly see him doing it. He does it more than once.
I mean, I haven't seen the movie, but
Yeah.
it sounded like she was on the same page as like, yeah, let's do stuff together.
Right. So
you don't really need that transaction.
Right.
in there.
So the two parents leave for the weekend. They leave the two kids at home. Her boyfriend, who's played by this guy, his name is Tyler. Her now boyfriend that she's kind of seeing. Yeah. Who is Chris's friend. I mean, excuse me, Ryan's friend. Excuse me, his name is Ryan. The brother's name is Tyler. Excuse me, Ryan, who is now who's now seeing Chloe, roofies Tyler, knocks him out, goes up to Chloe's room, and before he goes up there, he prepares another roofie drink.
They sell them at Costco or something?
Eventually we find out it's actually fentanyl because he says it. Ugh. Yeah, so he gives her the drink, she drinks it, knocks out, and the entire time the ghost is standing there because again the presence has gone close to Chloe.
Yeah.
And as she's knocked out, he begins this kind of, it was a little comical, but he kind of, I think the actor overplayed it a little bit, but he's like, "I have the power over you, and look what I can do to you. There's a thin line between life and death, and here I am." And just like the other two girls that they thought it was a drug overdose.
Heavy-handed.
Yeah, they thought it was a drug overdose, but it wasn't. It was me. And and he pulls out this.
He started twirling his mustache.
He pulls out,
twirling his mustache.
Yeah, it was a little. It was
as he's tying her to the train.
It was a
track,
little comically villainous, but he pulls out a piece of Saran wrap and puts it over her mouth and nose, and as she's slowly choking. So he's just standing there, kind of enjoying it. He's like, "Yeah, I'm so fucking hard right now, just seeing you struggle for your life, and there's just a thin line."
And then Chad left the theater, and then
exactly.
Yeah.
And so
I don't feel as bad about my Sonic fanfic anymore.
So the presence is standing there watching this, goes down, and again, we've seen that it can move and touch and pull things.
Yeah.
But in this very crucial moment where he's admitting that he killed her two friends.
Yeah.
People thought it was a drug overdose because they had drugs in their system that he gave them. Right. And he's slowly suffocating with the Saran wrap. As we see that it can push and pull things in the past, it goes down and starts to try to wake up her brother, Tyler. and it can't actually touch people.
Right.
But what it does is it makes this high pitched whistle. It can like manipulate the air around it to make this high pitched whistle, and it wakes Tyler up, and he goes upstairs as he's like stumbling through his like drug induced haze, sees that what Ryan is doing to his sister, and says, "What are you doing?" Charges them. They both go crashing out the window, and they both die on the driveway.
Shit.
And then that's where the film pretty much is over.
Right. Oh my god.
Yeah,
I actually probably wouldn't like this movie.
It's pretty depressing. So, now the next scene is Chloe. And then I kind of skipped over something. So the presence is always in Chloe's room, but what it does, you kind of feel bad for it because every time it does kind of get scared or kind of tries to hide, even though nobody can see it. It always goes into her closet and looks at it. She has one of those closets with the slats in them, those doors with the slats.
Only in movies like this.
Yeah, exactly. It goes into her closet and kind of just like hangs out in the corner and looks at her, and it kind of like it's kind of like ashamed and kind of afraid of being caught. So it goes, and you kind of feel bad because at one point she's having sex with this guy Tyler, Ryan, who was her boyfriend, who roofies everybody, and she's having sex with him, and the presence like looks away, kind of like, oh man, I can't see this, like and it kind of like you see, she has a blouse that's hanging in the closet, and it buries its face in it as they're doing their thing, and so. Again, now the presence is in this empty room in Chloe's bedroom, which is now empty. And you see Lucy Liu downstairs, and the family's packed up. They're leaving. You don't see Tyler, her son, but all of a sudden she hears the high-pitched whistle. And she walks into the living room, which has an old mirror. And she sees his face in there. And then she's like, my son, he came back. And then the family rushes in. And then the camera pulls out, and you finally see the house from the outside. And then it slowly lifts up into the air, and it's implied that Tyler, her son, has been the presence the entire time.
Right. Because time doesn't work the same.
Exactly, because time doesn't work.
Timey-wimey.
And at some point when, earlier in the movie, when Chloe and Tyler had a fight, when she says, I hate you, he tries to apologize. She says, get out of I can't believe you said that. Because he's basically like, fuck your dead friend. Oh, well, get over it, is basically what he said. Or he's trying to talk to his dad. And his dad says, it's going to take a lot for you to repair that relationship. But eventually you're going to want to repair it. Because I didn't talk to my sister for 6 years after high school. So it's going to take a lot for you to repair it. So it goes back to that. At the end of the film, you realize the presence was Tyler.
The whole time.
But I don't. Again, time doesn't work the same as what the medium said. But in the beginning of the film, he's walking around this empty house, and then he sees his family, including himself, pull up and start checking out the house. Oh yeah, we'll take it. And then at the end, so I don't know. I would have.
I mean, I buy it if like he's got that protective nature. And he
right.
knows, like,
exactly. Yeah.
This is. I need to help save my sister.
And it's at some point because when he's explaining this really terrible thing he did to one of his classmates. He tricked them into thinking that this guy that liked her wanted to meet her somewhere, and they were all up in the room. He popped out and laughed at her. Ha ha! He's not really here. We just lured you up here and made you look like a jackass.
Right.
That kind of thing. And Lucy Liu's like, oh my god, you guys are so mean. And his father's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Right.
And his sister's saying the same thing. Like, that's really fucked up. Why would you do that?
So it's this penance.
Right.
Almost.
Exactly. So when he's telling the story, you hear the high pitched whistle, and you see the presence like running upstairs and just tears apart his room. Like knocks all his trophies out, like shatters his mirror.
Like, I was a dick.
Exactly. Like the lights are flickering off and on. It just trashes his room. And that's when the family comes up like, what the hell? That's when they all realize there's something in the house. So, I mean, I would have preferred, I get what it's coming back and it's like a 360. It's coming back to, it's Tyler trying to protect his sister. But I kind of would have preferred that there was something else inside the house that it didn't know what it's supposed to do. Maybe it was supposed to protect somebody. And it did turn out to be Chloe because you begin to think it's becoming obsessed with Chloe because it's the only member of the family that it always looks after and kind of tends to protect. Again. Yeah, exactly. And kind of tends to protect, but then
just hanging out there.
Like,
Now who are you to understand the great Orlok
presence?
Okay, that was way better than I thought.
That was good. No, we did it last time. It was good.
Okay.
It was good.
If anything, the present should have been the little gremlin thing from Cat's Eye, like and just stab the little dagger, just stabs into the guy's leg. and he falls through the window.
I know we got to wrap up soon, but I am very excited to hear when you guys see The Monkey. When that comes out.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
No. But
okay.
I'm just very excited to get that review.
I definitely want to watch.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
gonna be a lot of fun.
But
so fun.
but yeah,
The more
The
I see of
Presence. I was hoping it was something else. I it was okay. I give it a B minus. Very cheap film. It's just a guy walking through a house
And again,
with a camera.
like 4 or 5 people.
Yeah,
and-
4. I think I grand total. I think like 6 cast members.
Yeah.
7, something like that. Yeah. So and there's 3 of them are hardly in it. So
Yeah.
it's just basically this family. So
It's got to be 4 or 5 people at the most.
yeah,
The camera guy does all the work.
the
Apparently.
camera guy does all the work, and it's just
Predator reference? Come on.
yeah, really well done. I didn't think
Thank you.
there's really nothing. There's really nothing like terrifying about it. I thought it was going to be like an actual poltergeist that his family has to face off against, which I was looking forward to, but it's not. It's just it kind of
Russell Crowe.
it was kind of like Interstellar at the end. Do you remember like
Yeah,
Interstellar?
yeah.
Like he's moving get the fuck out of here, So
Love
it was
is a
alright.
dimension of its own.
Exactly.
And then we see the Phantom Ghost from Ghost with Patrick Swayze. Take him away.
They come out of the
scene's still
yeah.
messed
Those
up.
black
They come out of
things
the
come
wall.
out of the, yeah. Oh, that's great.
Always terrified being.
Yeah.
I would love a drag.
But yeah. Check it out. It's
Yeah,
okay.
It sounds
It's
great.
okay.
I actually had us pretty riveted just listening. to
Yeah.
it, so I'll give it a shot. And Steven Soderbergh is just a great director.
Soderbergh.
And I can't wait to hear the
Soderbergh,
musical.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the musical version.
So yeah. Chad, I know you saw Y2K. What did you think of it, real quick, before we wrap up?
Yeah, from Watson's review, I agree. It was lots of fun. Just a lot of 90s references.
Oh
Like,
yeah, throw in.
my favorite, tell you the truth, my favorite part of the movie was the beginning, where just on the computer screen and it's the AOL boot up, and like
Yeah.
you just see the AOL Messenger back and forth, and then you see like a computer screen where it's like halfway downloading a porn picture. Just it's not fully
See, that
there.
was I already knew the movie was. There was too much stuff going on that computer. That computer would have crashed and burned.
no,
With
yeah,
that many windows
but
open.
still, like I was saying to my friends, I was just saying, I get like if a whole movie was just on the computer and just interaction with people, kind of like that movie with John Cho where he was searching for his dog, searching, I think. As well. If it was that on the AOL computer, I would have loved it. It was just because so many nostalgic references on there. I was
I
like,
feel
oh,
Just
like
get the
man.
bonsai buddy that's
yeah.
just like
Yeah,
the
just-
little...
I'm sure there's some YouTube channels that are
No,
just that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But no, the movie's funny. The music was great. It was a lot of you're like, oh, they're playing this one.
It's $10 now, right, to stream? To rent?
Something like that,
Something
yeah.
like that. I
Because it
think.
was 20. That's why I didn't see it.
Yeah,
yet, but
that's
I
what-
heard
yeah.
it went down.
Yeah. I always wait until it goes down. It's
But
just
no,
because when it first
it's-
comes out, it's like theater prices. Like,
It's worth checking out because it's just like a lot of nostalgic fun and just like this movie, I could see it just like it. And a lot of people not going only because it's for us who
Yeah,
were
yeah.
around.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
If you're born after that, it's
you
not
don't even
gonna
know
really
Y2K
click.
is.
It-
yeah.
yeah. Well, it also reminded me of a lot of those like horror comedies of that time, like
Yeah.
Idle Hands. And
Right.
stuff.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
got
yeah.
that kind of vibe to
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Yeah. I'm sure the cast had no idea what Y2K is. They probably had to look it up.
No,
Yeah.
they were all
The stoner part of it is just fun, and yeah, there's just a lot of the main robot thing in the computer gave me a Lawnmower Man throwback
Yes.
to it, and I was
Yeah,
like, oh,
yeah.
that's cool. I wish I got the actor. That would have been great. Jeff, I forget his last name.
Healy or
Something like that, yeah. And or Pierce Brosnan make a pop.
That'd be
Oh,
great.
that'd
That would
be
have been great.
dope,
So, you have to stop. Just, but no, it's fun. It's lots of fun.
Cool.
Yeah. And if you like that, I recommend. This came out in 2021. It was Kyle Mooney. He did a 8-episode project on Netflix called Saturday Morning. It's like it spells out Smash, but it's called Saturday Morning. Hold on, I can pull it up.
Oh,
real quick.
it sounds familiar. What is it?
Saturday Morning All-Star Hits.
Yeah.
And so it's like it's parodying a Saturday morning show where Kyle Mooney's playing two twins like, hey, we're here, we're showing, here's this tune coming up next, and then it goes into a cartoon, and then the cartoon's just like, it's parodying other stuff, but it's actually taking serious tones in the cartoon as well, like One's focused on a dinosaur that's into present day, and he's friends with all these kids.
It's like Denver the Last Dinosaur.
Yeah, and exactly, and like, but he's dating this firefighter lady who she dumps him, and he's like, oh, you really want to, like, it gets in the music, just gets that 80s tone of just soap opera drama, like, oh man, all right, well, and then like goes on, he's depressed, and all the kids are outside, come on out, come on. It's like, yeah, it's just so, it's really
very
bonkers
like Tim
and fun.
Robinson
But
character.
as the show goes on, like the twins, they get mad at each other, and you see it in their interactions in between each like cartoon and stuff. I'm like, why'd you do that, man? And you're like, sorry, I'm just being radical and crazy, man. And then like there's a kind of like a OJ Simpson trial thing that cuts in between, and there's these fake movie trailers. Like there's it's one with Kyle Mooney is dressed as like a king, and he goes to the schools like and it's just the movie voice going, now he's at the school and everyone thinks he's different, but he never addresses that he's like royalty king. And he goes back in time and he plays a guitar. I'm going to do this presentation this way. And then all of a sudden it cuts back to this one thing. It's like, the Game Master is the title of the movie. And it's like, what? It's so good. It's so fun. It's crazy.
Awesome.
So I recommend that if especially if you're watching Y2K. Like, you'll love it.
Cool. All right, Chad, do you want to take us out?
Surely can.
Because Dan keeps looking at his watch over here.
Oh, geez. Somewhere to be?
I just typed in Smash with Kyle Mooney on my stuff to watch list. I was just typing it into my watch list. So.
Dan, anything you want to promote?
Yes. You should go play Sonic Top Golf while you can, because it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we gotta do that.
And you should also go see Sonic 3. And you should also follow me on It's Morphin' Time.
Mason Nation.
17, I think, is the
I
number.
think it's 17, yeah.
And thanks for having me, boys.
Of course. Always welcome, dude.
All right. And thank you guys for listening to another episode of Enter the Nerddom. Please like, follow, subscribe, comment, and
rate and review.
Yes.
We were supposed to be at Pasadena Comic Con yesterday. But
Yeah.
got pushed back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pushed back. Today,
yeah.
actually, but yeah, I got
There was a
pushed
little
back.
problem with breathing, apparently,
breathing
with that
and-
area.
Yeah.
So.
So.
Yeah, so it's getting pushed to May,
Yeah.
I believe.
But hey, all that rain now, it's just washing it into the ground. And
Yeah.
that's not going to hurt anything.
I know. Yeah, so it'll be late May, and then we have
NostalgiaCon.
In June, we'll have NostalgiaCon, so a little more information coming up on that. So
Bang,
we'll have a
bang.
huge booth at NostalgiaCon.
Yeah.
So it'll be pretty dope.
And some fun giveaways.
Yep.
Yes, sir. And as we say, enter the nerddom, exit the Mason Nation.
Never.
Never?
No one leaves.
No escapes.
No one escapes.
It's Cuba.
It's a one-way door.
leaving here alive. I don't know. That's what I would think.
Diplomatic immunity.
Now just have Count Orlok tell
Yes.
everyone to welcome to Mason Nation.
Yes.
And that no one can leave.
Welcome. Oh, wait. I lost it. Hold on. Welcome to Mason Nation.
Smash that like.
Smash that like and subscribe.